Alright, we are live once again with more great Ace Attorney Chronicles. So, we are heading into our first jury examination, so let's see how things are going. The victim may not be well off, but he's a nobleman and straight up. There's no reason to doubt the man. Well, I do declare the good gentleman has no reason to lie. In fact, I think he's rather splendid. Just look at the accused by comparison. He's Japanese, stoops all the while, and has a mustache. Very fishy. There's no evidence to suggest the gangling actor is a fraudsman. For now, at least. Indeed, it has started. I really don't care, Lord. I just need this trial to end quickly. 3 hours of missing time is nothing when you reach my age, you know. Nothing at all. I knew it. Every single one of them seems completely convinced. It would seem that all the jurors have come to the conclusion that Mr. Shamspeare is a fine, upstanding, and honest citizen. If you ask me, they've all been bewitched by his strange, theatrical movements. And sadly, nothing Mr. Natsume has said appears to have registered at all. Well, here goes. Let's not forget. I've pleaded with the jury on Saseki-san's behalf before, and it worked. So you never know. As a matter of fact, if I think about it, I have pretty much a 100% success rate with this. Before we begin, it might be an idea for me to remind you exactly how a summation examination works, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh. Well, you're still very new to British law, after all. That's true, I suppose. And Saseki-san's fate is entirely in my hands now. There's always a chance I might have forgotten some crucial detail. Perhaps I should hear Susato-san out. I wonder, should I let her talk me through it again or not? Bother. No need, we know how this works. Pit the jurors against each other. Thank you for the kind offer, Miss Susato, but I've been through plenty of these summation examinations already now. As a matter of fact, I think I've been through one not less than 24 hours ago. I think it's important that we don't delay the start any longer than necessary. Of course I understand, and I'm quite sure you're right. If you're confused by anything at any point, you can turn to me for advice whenever you like. I'll be here for you. The key to this is really listening carefully to each juror's statement. Finding two that are contradictory, and pitting the corresponding jurors against each other. Without further ado, please, counsel, proceed with the summation examination. Yes, my lord. Jury examinations. Let's begin. The defense's rebuttal. Alright, let's go ahead and do some pressing. Hold it! Well, there are plenty of people in London who seem noble but poor. Couldn't some of them also be liars? I've no doubt about it. Like that shaky client of yours, for example. Absolutely not. Mr. Natsume is no liar. The point is, the only thing that passed the victim's lips that night was that Japanese man's tea. When you take the gasman's testimony into account as well, the truth couldn't be any clearer. Well, that's alarmingly logical. But let me be frank here. I'm a gentleman with a gentleman's values. It turns out that the old Shakespearean chum is a rotten liar after all. I'm glad he changed my decision about the defendant. And I'm sure my fellow gentlemen on the jury would do the same, isn't that right? Well, yes, perhaps. Though I don't see it happening. Eh? What's that? Elderly gent on the end here, you know? You'll have to speak up. Look, I really don't care about all this nonsense. I just need this trial to be over. How many gentlemen do we actually have on the jury, then? Alright, sir, I may hold you to that. Don't forget what you said. If you can show me that the victim's a liar, I will reconsider my position. Alright, good. Are you saying you believe the man to be trustworthy because he's rather splendid? No, that's not what I said. The point is, the man is the victim here. What reason would he have to lie? And yes, he is rather splendid. So, you say, yet again. Meanwhile, the man who stands accused behaves so suspiciously, it's exhausting to look at him. I'm afraid he's not splendid at all. Splendid logic there, madam. Thank you so much. Okay. No, not one of those things is a reason to find the man guilty. But he is fishy. There's no point dancing around that fact. He's Japanese, he has a mustache, and he stoops. You see, you arrive at the conclusion in just 3 steps. 3 steps, like a waltz, in fact. You know, the more I think about it, the more this trial seems like a dance. You seem to be several steps ahead of yourself, though, and you're on the wrong foot. No, there's nothing but circumstantial evidence here. There is no actual proof of the defendant's guilt. But the victim's version of events is backed up by what the big chin man next to him says, isn't it? 1, he saw the Japanese man there. 2, he saw no one else. And 3, he saw the Japanese man there. Oh! That's another 3 steps. All this really does seem more and more like a waltz, doesn't it? You said the same thing twice, though. Right. And the prosecution will waltz his way to victory if he'll let you speak much more.
Hold it!
Let's talk to you. A fraudsman? What do you mean by that, madam? Really is the most tiresome problem for the company. Most irritating. We can be absolutely certain that a customer is stealing from us without hard evidence. We can't even threaten to take action for fear of being sued. I'm sorry, you've lost me a little there. Who are you? I'm the wife of Augustus Altamont, owner of the Altamont Gas Company.
Good gracious! Altamont Gas, you say?
Yes, it's the future of energy in this country and around the globe, but proper handling is essential. As I'm sure our employee from the East End branch office will be the first to agree.
Absolutely, Lady Quidby. Gotta be used properly. Altamont Gas is the best in the world, of course.
I think we may have solved the mystery of the bow from earlier, Mr. Naruhodo. Right, he bowed in deference to his employer's wife, did he? So, would I be right in assuming that the reason Mr. Meterman was watching what Mr. Shamspeare was up to in his room? I'm afraid that there's no end to the lengths the population of the East End will go in order to steal our gas. So, I really have no choice when the company identifies somebody as a possible fraudsman. But to dispatch a worker to watch the suspect day and night, we're very thorough in our investigations. So you mean Mr. Shamspeare is... I wouldn't come out and say it in public. But you can finish that sentence with a grubby little gas thief. You have noticed the public gallery in here, have you? The eye of man hath not heard, the ear of man hath not seen. Faith, wouldst thou wound me with thy words, were I to let them penetrate the skin? But seraphs hear not insults, only choirs of angels in song. We may not have evidence yet, but my workers won't stop buzzing around until they find it. And when they do, you'll find yourself blasted back to your angelic heights in the Altamont gas explosion. So Mr. Shamspeare has been stealing gas. I wonder, juror number 4, if you wouldn't mind adding that information to your statement. My pleasure. Was it the bit about ripping that thief apart you enjoyed? A little before that part about abject violence, if it's not too much trouble. Oh, yes, of course. This could be it. This could shift the balance. Alright, the victim puts on a fine performance, but in reality he's a common thief of my company's gas. I think we got something there, but let's keep looking.
Hold it!
You keep talking about needing to take home some money. What's that all about, sir? Well, we've had this guy on the jury before, and that was his concern last time.
Finish, lass. That's what it's about.
What's that?
I'm talking about the Derby at Hyde Park, aren't I? It was the Queen's Cup last week, wasn't it?
Derby?
It was a dead cert, that's the thing. I couldn't lose, so I took my wife's secret savings, like. But then, that hopeless old mare went and did the unthinkable. Oh, that stupid Finnish lass.
You get the joke. You get the joke. It's a horse, and its name was Finnish Lass. Yeah. Oh dear, I think it's clear what happened, isn't it?
This is the day the missus uses her savings for a trip down the pub. So come on, let the business lie now. Just give it up.
No, that's not gonna happen. Let's see. 3 hours of missing time is nothing when you reach my age, he says. Okay, well, let's check it out then. Oh, got it. The key to summation examinations is identifying contradictions between juror statements, Mr. Naruhodo. Right, and once I've found two jurors whose statements can't coexist, I need to pit those jurors against each other. Then hopefully, when they see what they're saying doesn't make sense, they'll change their leaning. Yes, and if you're able to change the minds of a majority of the jurors, the trial will continue. But conversely, if you're unable to do that, the judge will declare the trial over and move to adjudication. And I can't let that happen. Somehow or other, I have to turn this trial around. Alright, let's see what we can do. The one person I forgot to press was him. Juror number 6. Let's go. What do you really mean by that, sir? Well, I'm not one to boast, but I get up at 5 every morning, I do. At 5? You're a really early riser then, aren't you? What's that? What's that now? I said you're an early riser. Oh, well, I wouldn't say that. I mean, I like to while away the hours in the evening. Reading books as well. But by about 2 in the morning, I'm usually too tired to go on. He sleeps at 2 in the morning and gets up at 5? Oh my, that means he only has 3 hours of sleep each night. What's that, dear? Only 3 hours of sleep each night! That's right. You see, 3 hours of missing time. Like I said, it's not much, is it? This really isn't helping. Alright, but we have our in. It's fairly simple. Pit.
Objection!
Yeah. So, these two statements clearly contradict each other.
Good gracious! To whose statements do you refer, counsel?
Juror number 1.
Hey, what are you yelling about, lad?
I presume you've heard juror number 4's statement, made by the wife of the owner of Altamont Gas.
Well, yes.
The victim, who you claim to be a noble, straight-up man, in fact, turns out to be a common thief.
So the good lady says, but there's no evidence, is there?
You and I both heard them say as much. It's true, we don't have evidence as such. Just yet. But the claim's on baseless, you know.
What?
You heard me. Seeing as this operation has already been compromised, I would suggest that the court hears testimony from our East End Branch Company employee over there.
I'll do whatever you say, my lady. Gasman's honor.
He's so respectful. Juror number 1, you say you're a man of your word? If I could show that Mr. Shamspear was a liar, you assured me that you would reconsider your decision about the defendant's guilt.
Yes, I did say that. As a man of honor, I'll hold to it, as I'm sure the other gentlemen of the jury will.
Me? Oh, well, yes. Now that we've found out the man's a liar, perhaps we ought to consider the matter further. Well, if I'm perfectly honest, I haven't heard half of what you've all been saying. So this means you'll recap a few points. That would suit me down to the ground.
Oh no, I'm not having any part of this. I want this trial over and done with.
In that case, I shall change my leaning.
So, Mr. William Shakespeare, if that is your real name, we of the jury demand to know exactly what kind of a man you really are.
That's 4 jurors. 4 for not guilty. Yes, Mr. Naruhodo. Victory!
Order! Order! Well, this is quite extraordinary, I must say. As a result of the defense's summation examination, the jury's leaning has changed. Now only 2 jurors say guilty, whilst 4 say not guilty. I therefore declare this court to be in a state of disaccord, and order the trial to continue.
You have spoilt the bouquet, Mr. Shakespeare. The ladies and gentlemen of the jury now find they are unable to trust you, the victim. But you gods will give us some faults to make us men. So God mend me, I do swear. This gasman speaketh that which concerns him most. Naught but gas, naught but thin air. Aye, it burneth bright a while, but it hath no substance, and it doth reek foul.
Oi, what did you say? Do I take it, Mr. Shakespeare, that you deny the allegations of gas thievery?
Most heartily, my lord. Hast thou forgot? I am as a seraph, an angel. Noble of mind, sweet of nature, and verily, honest of heart.
You flowery mouth, pompous bean pole. Just because I haven't got the evidence yet.
Mr. Shakespeare, if, in fact, you are not of noble mind, sweet of nature, or honest of heart, if you are a liar, then your testimony should have no sway in this courtroom.
It is my considered opinion that at the present time no other possible culprit of this crime has been identified. Our testimony heard by the court thus far heavily implicates the defendant. In short, it would not be unreasonable at this stage for me to rule on the case.
Oh no.
However, in light of the fact that the jury has expressed concern about the fidelity of this witness, I believe it would be inappropriate for this court not to pursue the point further. Objection!
I assure you, my lord, that would be a waste of the court's time. The gas and this case are unrelated. Juror number 4. Yes? Didn't you say before that although you had no hard evidence to prove this man has been stealing gas, you have strong grounds for suspecting him? That's right, we do. Don't we? Worker?
Absolutely, Lady Queenbee. Gas wins honor. Very well then, we will hear your testimony now. You will tell the court precisely why you believe the victim, William Shakespeare, has been stealing gas. Yes, my lord, it'll be my pleasure. On the ultimate gas name, I'll swear.
If I may, my lord.
Go ahead, madam.
This worker's testimony may have a significant bearing on the good name of my husband's company. Therefore, I should like to take the stand alongside him in a supervisor role, if you wouldn't mind.
Woohoo! Oh yeah! Sweet as honey! Yeah, yeah, yeah!
What was that?
Very well. As an exception, I shall honor your request.
Thank you, my lord.
You wait till the boss gives you an earful. Oh, it's gonna sting. You mock my words. So you will both testify before the court on the subject of the illegal consumption of the Altamont Gas Company's fuel.
Yes. Is that clear, my good man?
Clear as Altamont gas, my lady. Which is the clearest in the world.
Do you think the gas has gone to his head, Mr. Sato? I think the man is just a very dedicated employee, Mr. Naruhodo. The Altamont Gas Company's investigation.
Proud to be the company's East End branch investigator and meter money collection agent. Altamont Gas Meters, a company, threepenny pence, each coin giving customers about 2 hours of gorgeous gas.
And yet, the meter in Mr. Shakespeare's room didn't have a single coin in it. The meter doesn't appear to have been tampered with, though, and the collection agent has the only key.
Somehow, he's using all the flaming gas he wants without paying a penny. If that's not thieving, what is?
Pray forgive the discourtesy. The irrelevance of this testimony caused me to turn to my hallowed chalice.
What do you mean by that remark, Lord Van Zykes?
Did the mustachioed Nipponese poison the gangling excuse for an actor, or didn't he? That is all that should concern this court. And yet now, we must listen to this abhorrence. Clearly what separates the vast British Empire and your Eastern Island nation is more than geographical distance. But this could turn out to be crucial testimony. The cross-examination must go ahead. Do what you will. Lord Van Zykes appears to be in a violent mood. Yes, he does. An attempted poisoning and an incident of gas theft with no supporting evidence. It's true that they would appear completely unrelated at first glance, but I wonder, the truth tends to be buried in the most unusual places, and the first step in uncovering it will be to establish just who and what this man really is. Yep. Here we go.
Hold it!
So, does that mean you enter people's houses in order to empty their gas meters?
What I do, I have to try to catch people when they're in. Then I ask permission to come inside and do my business.
Does that mean you've been into Mr. Natsume's room before, as well as that of Mr. Shakespeare?
Well, now, interesting you should bring that up. Because I couldn't believe how little money was in his meter. I mean, how the pair of them survived the winter is beyond me, it really is.
Knowing Mr. Natsume, he probably spends all his gas money on books. And then when he's finished reading them, he probably burns them for warmth.
You will kindly reiterate your statement about the gas meters themselves, Mr. Biederman. Not much to say, really, but as you wish.
So what is he saying here? Altamont gas meters accept property bits each coin. Oh, wait. Right. Okay. That didn't add anything new. So all London houses that have a gas supply are fitted with these gas meters, are they? They're the latest model, the height of technology, developed by our company, Altamont Gas. And anyone who uses our gas will have one of these meters in their property, yes. So if a 3-pence coin gives 2 hours of gas, most people would use about 3 coins in a night.
A bit more than that, usually. If they have both gas lights and a gas stove, that is.
Thinking about it, Soseki-san doesn't have a fireplace in that room of his, does he? Some people still choose to use candles, of course, and only have gas for heating. Oh yes, I do remember seeing candles in Mr. Natsume's room, actually. And how does the money in the meter get back to you at the gas company?
Every 3 days, gasmen like me visit properties on the gas supply and empty the meters of coins.
I must say, the design and manufacture of the new meter cost the company an awful lot of money. But happily, it did put a stop to people not paying their dues. For the most part. Ah, because they have to pay in advance, you mean? Yes, exactly right. Meter didn't have a single...
Hold it!
Okay. Out of interest, how long has this been going on?
Weeks and weeks. He's been pinching gas off us for ages.
Examine the meter in Mr. Shamspeare's room, I take it? Naturally. We took it off the wall and went over it with a fine-tooth comb. And found nothing suspicious at all, I presume. No, I'm afraid we didn't. Which is exactly why I demanded a new type of meter to be produced. One with an indestructible lock. The Shamspeare Special. It sounds like it would have cost an awful lot of 3-penny pieces. But even after all that, the rascal's meter was still empty.
I'll never forget the humiliation when I opened up the money box and found it bare. You what? I said, you what? And the look on his face, that smarmy smile of his. I pulled the meter straight off the wall and took it back to the office. But you know what? Nothing. Not a trace of it being jemmied open anyway, not a single sign. It was happening to my salary result, down by 3 shillings a day, that's what.
A life-threatening situation in a number of ways. Incidentally, what became of that meter?
Nothing became of it. I've still got it.
Oh.
Right here.
No wonder they call you Meterman. I think it would be prudent for the court to sequester this item while the trial is ongoing. A meter that dispenses gas for a set time after a coin is inserted. It sports a very strong lock developed especially with Mr. Shamspeare in mind. Definitely. Although, at first glance, there doesn't appear to be anything unusual about it. Let's move this along, shall we? Continue with your testimony. Though I would say it has as much value as the contents of that meter.
Oof.
Hold it!
There's only one key for all of your meters? Well, in truth, there's another key in the company vault at our main office. But even if someone had somehow managed to get hold of a key, we'd know if the coin box had been opened. Oh? How? I came up with a rather clever way to expose the little shenanigans as it happens. Would you care to explain?
Well now, in order for them to cover again, I stick a little beeswax seal on it, you see.
A seal? Like the sort of thing you'd put on an envelope, you mean?
Something like that, yes. Basically, you can't remove the cover without breaking the seal.
Now, in that case of Mr. Shamspeare's meter, there were no coins inside at all, as I said.
Well, the seal hadn't been broken either.
So that would mean Mr. Shamspeare somehow managed to steal coins from inside the meter without opening it? It would seem so, but that would be impossible. He's using all the flaming gas he wants without paying a penny.
Hold it!
Well, we'll see about that. How do you know that he's been using gas, though?
Well, now, since I started investigating this book, I've been to his room more than a few times. And on every single occasion, his lamp's been blazing and his stove pounding. It's the middle of winter and he still turns to me, sweat dripping down his cheeks, and says,
"Get thee to a nunnery."
"Hamlet, indeed." I could wring the bloke's neck. I get all hot under the collar, but still, every time I open up that flaming meter, it's empty. He's robbing me of my salary, too. What's wrong with the world? Where's the justice?
But how can Mr. Shamspeare possibly be stealing the money? I don't understand. The simple explanation is right before your eyes. What? A toast to you eventually, realizing that the gasman could be an accomplice.
You what? Good lord. Eminently plausible indeed.
Well, what do you have to say for yourself?
Oh, please, Lady Quinby. I'm a faithful worker. And besides, if the money us gasmen collect doesn't tell you how much gas has been used, you dock our pay by the same amount.
So you'd be stealing money only to have the same amount taken from your wages. Clearly that makes no sense. Perhaps it's a case of losing the battle to win the war?
No. I'm not going to stir up the hornet's nest. If I went stealing from the company, I'd be finished.
It would seem there is no evidence to support the claims of thievery made against the victim. Because Mr. William Shamspeare is innocent. Pray, forgive me. If that shatters some illusion my learned Nipponese friend was clearly under. Ugh. I certainly didn't expect to uncover another crime that looks like it's been taking place in the very same room. According to the testimony, it's only the meter in Mr. Shamspeare's room that's under suspicion. It does seem as though perhaps it has nothing to do with the incident involving Mr. Natsume. I know, it does seem that way, but the fact is, since I've been practicing law in England, I feel like I've encountered this at least once already. Cases that are interlinked. Oh. It might seem that two cases have nothing to do with one another at first, but in fact, they're intimately connected. Yes, we have experienced... Tons and tons of wine bottles, it's crazy. Yeah. We have experienced that before, haven't we? I wonder if this is another instance. Perhaps, but we can't be sure of that yet. If the Altamont Gas Company has been investigating Mr. Shamspeare so earnestly, there must be something to it. But then, how has he been managing to steal their gas? Alright. Well, how about we get the court record open here? And let's look at this gas meter, shall we? Oh, what's this? Oh, have you spotted something, Mr. Naruhodo? Just here, there's a little hole. Do you see? Goodness, you're right. I wouldn't have noticed. It's not a very neat hole, is it? Not professionally made, I'd say. So, you think it might have been opened up by Mr. Shamspeare? Possibly. It seems the people at Altamont Gas must have missed it. Well, it certainly seems to go all the way through to the inside. Yes, but there's no way a coin could fit through there. That's true, but even so, it's more than a little suspicious. The attached coin box sports, and there is a tiny hole in its base. That's important. Anything else worth looking at on it? I would say, let's look at this. It's a very sturdy-looking padlock, isn't it? And the money box is sealed with beeswax, too. So if Mr. Sholmes were to get up to any mischief, he'd be found out immediately. Mr. Naruhodo, mischief of that kind is not the sort of thing that Mr. Sholmes would... You know you didn't finish that sentence, don't you? Well, anyway, it's understandable that the gas company would want to safeguard the money that's rightfully theirs. But it does feel a little over the top, perhaps, doesn't it? Alright. Well, we have a tiny hole now, so let's see.
Objection!
The meter doesn't appear to have been tampered with. Actually, it has. Lady Altamont, I'm afraid to say that this meter clearly does show signs of having been tampered with. What?
Get away! I've been over and over that thing. I'm telling you, there's nothing wrong with it.
In that case, what do you have to say about the small hole that's been made at the base of the coin box?
Oh? What?
You're right. You're quite right. There is a little hole there. The meters aren't supposed to have that. None of the others do. In other words, we can assume that Mr. Shamspeare secretly opened up this hole himself. Yes, I wouldn't be at all surprised. But why?
Yeah, why? I mean, it's tiny. You couldn't get a farthing through that.
Lady Altamont, I wonder if you could give the court some more details about your meter design. What sort of details? Well, what I'd specifically like to know is... Great questions here. How it's dismantled, or how it differentiates coins, right? Let's... Maybe how it's dismantled? How can the meter be dismantled? Dismantled? Yes, given that there are no signs of it having been forced, I'm wondering if perhaps rather than being broken open, it might have been taken apart. Well, yes, that does make some sense. The padlocks are made by a first-class locksmith from the finest quality steel, and the meter box itself is made from plate steel as well, welded shut to ensure it can't be opened again. I can assure you, it's quite impossible to dismantle it.
Wahoo! Yeah, nothing leaks from an automat meter. No coins, no gas, no nothing.
I see.
The witness will amend her formal testimony with that information in case it is pertinent.
As you wish, my lord. All joints in the meter are welded shut and the lock is made from solid steel. There's no way to dismantle it. Alright.
Hold it!
Has anyone ever tried?
Oh yeah, they've tried, but they've all given up before long.
After all, if they actually broke the meter, the company would be able to take legal action. Yes, that makes sense. What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo? Is its welded steel construction significant? Or perhaps there's some other aspect of the meter's construction that we should be focusing on? Yes, you may be right. Perhaps I should try a different tack here. Like asking about how the meter differentiates coins, for example. Yeah, let's do that. Maybe that wasn't the right thing to ask. How does the meter tell the difference between different coins? What do you mean? Well, for example, if someone were to put in a 1 penny coin, that wouldn't work, presumably, would it? No, of course not. So, well, how does the meter know that the coin it's been fed is a threepenny bit? Ah, I see what you're getting at now. The meter tells coins apart by their shape and size, which includes their thickness. A threepenny bit is about 3/4 of an inch in diameter, you see. Other coins just won't fit. I see. It's clearly been very well thought out.
The witness will amend her formal testimony with that information in case it is pertinent.
As you wish, my lord. Alright. The meter is designed for coins the exact diameter and thickness of a threepenny bit, and nothing else will fit. Wait a minute. The soap! A little reddish medallion. Can we look at this real quick? Oh, look at this bar of soap. There's a circular depression on this side, about 2 centimeters across. Or 3/4 of an inch. Ah, do you think... We did find this soap at the scene, didn't we? Yes, there were 2 bars. And that little ledge just outside the window, so we took this one. But I'm sure that when we first found it, there was some sort of reddish medallion in the middle there. I remember it clearly. Yes, but there's no sign of it now. Where could it have gone? Aha.
Objection!
We got it. Let me just confirm something here. If the diameter and thickness were to be correct, the meter would accept any object as if it were a threepenny bit. Is that correct? Yes, that is correct. Well, by something of a coincidence, while we were investigating in Mr. Shamsphere's room, we found a particular item that matches the dimensions perfectly. Something the same size as the threepenny bit. What was it? The item in question is this.
What? Have you been inhaling gas? That's a bar of soap.
It certainly looks nothing like a threepenny bit, I must say. It looks like I'm going to have to point out exactly what I mean here. What's so important about the soap is this part here.
Got it!
You have to turn over the soap to see what I mean. Ah. Are you referring to that round depression in the middle of the soap there? That's right. A depression that's approximately 3/4 of an inch in diameter. Or in other words, almost exactly the same size as a threepenny bit.
Get away! Does anyone here present have in their possession a threepenny bit? Quickly now, hand over your coins, ladies and gentlemen.
It sounds rather like a highway robbery, doesn't it?
Thanks to a kind member of the public in the gallery, I have a threepenny bit here. Now, to see if it fits. My word, couldn't be more snug.
Yes, as I suspected. This, without a doubt, is a vital clue to explain how the Altamont Gas Company is being defrauded. Well, I don't believe it. So, your assertion amounts to what? That some inferior bar of soap has the tentative connection to the theft of gas? Yes. The depression in the soap was clearly made by a threepenny bit.
I must concur, at least, that pushing a coin with some force into a poor quality bar of soap such as this is a remarkably simple way of replicating the coin shape. And then you could use, well, some melted wax or something to pour into the mold. You could make fake coins in no time.
This brings all the pieces of the puzzle together. It's the method Mr. Shamspear is using to steal the gas. That's the missing link. And now, if I follow the chain of thought, it's going to bring me to a new explanation for what happened that nobody's considered yet. But this is all nonsense. If the man had been making fake coins, my worker here would have found them when he emptied the meter.
Quite true, Lady Altamont. In the absence of some black magic that could make them disappear.
I see. That's what we're dealing with, is it? There is one form of black magic that could cause the fake coins to disappear into thin air. Yes. Exactly. And the meter here gives it away. What on earth? There are remnants of the magical method used visible on the gas meter taken from the victim's room.
That is your assertion, counsel. The defense will identify these remnants for the court at once. Right on the meter, can the remnants of the method used to make the fake coins disappear be seen?
Right there.
Got it!
We found this bar of soap at the scene of the crime, just outside the victim's window.
Outside?
Yes, outside, where you yourself, Mr. Meterman, were loitering in the freezing winter air. That's where we found this soap.
Ah, a goodie.
That's right. The answer, of course, is ice.
Did you say ice?
Mr. Shamspear has been leaving soaps like this outside his window each evening filled with water. After a night outside in the bitter cold, the water is completely frozen solid the next morning. Then he takes his fake coins of ice and feeds them into the gas meter, giving him light and warmth in spades. As his room becomes very comfortably warm, the ice now inside the meter's coin box melts, turning back into water, and draining harmlessly away through the small hole made in the underside of the meter. That is how, without leaving any evidence of his wrongdoing, this man has been stealing Altamont gas. Just like that. So simply. Is he trying to make us look like idiots? He's been fooling us all with some bars of soap and some water. That's right, madam. I don't believe it. It can't be true. Do you have any idea how much money we spent to develop that new meter? And now you have the audacity to suggest that a bit of soap and water can render it totally useless? I'm fairly sure I didn't design it. Evidence. Sorry? I want evidence. If you're gonna stand there and tell me our meters are rubbish, I want to see proof. She's very good at enforcing accountability, isn't she? Very well, Lady Altamont. If you'd like evidence, I'll provide it. What? Mr. Naruhodo, are you saying you do actually have evidence to support this theory? I hoped so. I did notice a trace of something that bothered me a little at the time. And I have a feeling that this theory we've come up with now could explain it. The piece of evidence that substantiates the theory about how Mr. Shamspear has been stealing the gas is... let's Let's see. It's not the envelope, right? Oh! There's a big old puddle of water. There we go.
Take that!
This is a photograph of the scene at the point when the victim was discovered, taken by Inspector Gregson. And it clearly shows the remnants of the crime carried out by Mr. Shamspeare. What remnants? Here you can see the gas meter on the wall in Mr. Shamspeare's room. Now, look closely at the floorboards directly underneath the meter. What is that? Some kind of grubby stain? Almost certainly, it's a water stain, resulting from the liquid that drained out of the hole made in the meter. Ah! If one coin gives around 2 hours of gas usage, and the occupant was heating his room in all his waking hours, you can imagine he would have used around 10 of his fake coins each day. The melting ice inside the meter's coin box would have been dripping out almost constantly, leaving a stain on the floor. This is awful. And there's further evidence, too. Mr. Shamspeare is slumped over his table, apparently, having consumed strychnine. And right there next to him is a bar of soap, broken in half. You're right.
It would appear to me then, counsel, that the man was eating the soap, was he?
Pardon me for disagreeing with your lordship, but
Certainly not.
he didn't beat about the bush there, did he? In truth, Mr. Shamspeare was found with a fork in his hand.
A meal of soap was sounding increasingly likely, Lord Van Zykes. You mean to say he was using that fork to...
Yes. To extract a frozen coin from the bar of soap.
Ah!
But the bar broke in half. So perhaps it didn't go very well.
Good gracious.
Lord Van Zykes. I was throwing my hand up in despair, and happened to catch my hollowed bottle on the way. Pray forgive my maladroit mistake.
What is the meaning of this, counsel?
Allow me to pose my learned friend a question. Exactly did you establish with your most recent cross-examination? Well, that Mr. William Shamspeare is a liar and a thief. In other words, that his testimony is unreliable. That's it. That's exactly it. Very well. Let us assume the man is a liar. Now, allow me to pose another question. What possible difference does that make? Well, we know that suicide can be discounted. Scotland Yard's investigation revealed no signs of another vessel that contained poison. And on the night in question, there were no visitors to the room except the accused. The young gasman's testimony, which we have no reason to doubt, has confirmed that. Furthermore, the only possible way the poison could have entered the victim's body is via the tea. The court has seen no evidence whatsoever that suggests otherwise. Even if William Shamspeare is the liar you claim him to be, these facts have been objectively established. There's no escaping it. Therefore, in light of these facts, the prosecution calls for immediate adjudication. You... What?
Order! Order! Well, counsel, how does the defense respond?
Mr. Naruhodo. What was the point of that last cross-examination? Did it actually get us anywhere? Or did it make no difference at all, like Lord Van Zykes is saying? We gotta raise an objection. That's the only thing I can think of. No, this isn't over. The defense will not rest.
What? But counsel, you've successfully explained everything. You've identified and substantiated the unscrupulous method employed by Mr. Shamspeare to consume gas. What more is there to discuss?
Lord Van Zykes just highlighted 3 facts in order to make his point. But contrary to what he would have the court believe, not all of them have been objectively established at all. What are you trying to say, my Nipponese friend? At least one of these so-called facts is an assumption, made due to a lack of evidence. But the situation has changed now, following the cross-examination of the latest witnesses to take the stand. Don't be absurd. What is this nonsense? Yes, when you bring everything we've heard so far together and consider it as a whole, it's clear. There is a question we now need to reconsider, namely... I'm thinking the poison in the tea, maybe? Or... yeah, was the poison in the tea. We've all been led to believe that the strychnine poison that afflicted Mr. Shamspeare was in the tea brought to him by Mr. Natsume. But that's conjecture at best, right? Because it's an assumption. They said they're making the assumption because they weren't able to actually test the tea, because there wasn't a drop of it left.
Objection!
The victim has testified that nothing else passed his lips that night. There is no other possibility. And since there was no trace of the tea left at the scene, it couldn't be tested for traces of the poison.
Objection!
As I said, the situation has changed. Because, in fact, some of Mr. Natsume's tea was left at the scene. And a particular piece of evidence proves it.
Objection!
A ludicrous claim. Scotland Yard detectives investigated the scene exhaustively. What evidence are you suggesting they missed?
The defense has made a bold claim indeed. Very well, counsel. Represent your proof. What evidence from the scene of the crime can tell us about the nature of the defendant's tea?
The teacups.
Take that!
Exactly is this piece of evidence supposed to reveal about Mr. Natsume's tea, counsel?
Well, I suspect it may possibly be related to the tea in some small way. Wait. Didn't you be digging for a very long time indeed, my beloved friend? Oh. Even at the bottom of the deepest chasm, you'll find no sense in that absurd assertion. Okay. Sometimes I wish I could disappear down a deep chasm to escape his deep sarcasm.
Then I advise you to think more deeply before you answer again this time.
What evidence from the scene of the crime can tell us about the nature of the defendant's tea? Wouldn't it be that... Toxic... This is a good question. I'm a little bit at a loss on this one. I would have thought it would have been the pair of teacups. Allow me to consider. So, let's think about it. So, we know that he was poisoned, but we don't know where it was. They're assuming it was in the tea because they think that's the only method. The only other thing I can think of is the soap. That, like, maybe the soap melted or something, and there, like, was the poison in the... Let's see.
Take that!
That's the only thing I can think of. Let's see.
Good gracious. The soap, again? The same bar the victim used to fashion his coins of ice?
Yes, that's right, my lord. It's just come back to me. Something about when we first found this bar of soap at the scene yesterday. It's more bars of soap. Soap? What are bars of soap doing lined up on a ledge outside the window? I'm quite certain that when we originally stumbled upon the bars of soap, there was actually a frozen coin in each bar. So you discovered the gas thief's coin factory. Fascinating. In a way, yes, but there's more time. There's more. The coins we found in the soap at the time weren't normal ice.
There was something strange about them, you mean?
Exactly. Something very obviously strange. They were red. The ice was red? No. You mean... That's right. It's obvious to me now. The fake coins in the soap were made from frozen tea.
What?
I would remind the court of a statement made by Mr. Natsume earlier in this trial.
That evening, yes, I did take some freshly brewed tea with me when I visited Mr. Shamspeare's room as a gift. The public water pump outside always freezes at night, so I bought bottled water especially to make it. And this is the result. Never will I touch tea again. Never. Oh, yes, I believe there had been a snowfall that day. It was particularly cold. Sadly, on such occasions, the poorly constructed water mains in the East End are prone to freezing.
So on the night in question, Mr. Shamspeare, having no running water to use, was forced to use the tea brought by Mr. Natsume in order to make his fake coins.
My word.
There were 2 bars of soap on the window ledge when my judicial assistant and I investigated the scene. That's right, and we only borrowed one of them. Which means that even as we speak, some of the defendant's tea is still present at the scene of the crime. Frozen solid in a bar of soap outside Mr. Shamspeare's window.
Extraordinary.
Earlier today, Inspector Gregson informed the court that if even one drop of the tea remained, Scotland Yard would be able to analyze it for poison. As such, we are now in a position to prove or disprove what has until now been mere conjecture. By finding out for sure whether or not Mr. Natsume's tea actually contains strychnine at all.
Ugh, you smug Nipponese.
My lord, we cannot do the defendant the injustice of passing judgment now. The police should be dispatched to recover the remaining bar of soap from the scene at once, and the defense requests a thorough analysis of the frozen tea embedded in it to determine whether or not it contains any poison.
Bailiff! Bailiff! Instruct the police to attend the scene at once. Yes, my lord. Understood.
Alright, getting somewhere now.
It seems we have no choice but to suspend these proceedings for the time being. I trust you have no objection, Lord Van Zykes?
None, my lord.
Scotland Yard will recover the tea from the scene and carry out the requisite tests immediately. Trial will resume at the same hour tomorrow. Prosecution and defense may conduct further investigations as appropriate in the interim.
Yes, my lord. Well, we managed to scrape through there somehow.
Thank you, counsels. Court is adjourned until tomorrow.
To be continued. Oh, we get another investigation segment. My. That's, in the previous game, it was all investigation in one block and then the trial. This is switching things up a bit. Interesting. 22nd of February, 1:11 p.m., Naruhodo's Legal Consultancy. Whew. We made it back in one piece. Just. To be perfectly honest, I thought we were finished there for a while. Oh, I know. What a lot of close shaves. There are so many carriages on the streets of London. We were very nearly flattened several times. Oh, no, I didn't mean that. Yes, I know. It was a marvelous defense, Naruhodo-san. It really was. I was in awe of you. Oh, thank you. And now that your fervent exploits have won us some more precious investigation time, let's see if we can't find some new clues for court tomorrow. Yes, let's do that. Is everything alright? I suppose. I still can't quite believe it, that's all. But I'm here in England, working as a lawyer, I mean, in the Old Bailey, no less. The truth is, it shouldn't be me, should it? It should be him, standing in my shoes. It should be Kazuma. It was Kazuma-sama's wish that you follow him to Great Britain and work alongside him. Yes, I mean, I never had the chance to ask him exactly why, but he clearly had a plan. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for him. And you're doing wonderfully, Naruhodo-san. I've no doubt that Kazuma-sama would say exactly the same if he were here with us. Thank you, Susato-san. Thank you. Hey. Guess we're talking some more. It was quite a shock early today, wasn't it? When the victim himself turned up in court and took the stand. I know. Not only that, but then finding out that he's actually a barefaced gas thief as well. Yes, that was certainly a surprise to us all. For a while, it seemed as though everyone had quite forgotten about Saseki-san poisoning the tea. Careful of your phrasing, Susato-san. He didn't poison anything. And there's more to this Mr. Shamspear than we yet know, I'm sure of it. Mr. Shamspear certainly wasn't the noble, upstanding man everyone thought he was at first. What's become of him, actually? I was told that he'd be returning to the hospital ward where he was receiving treatment. Oh, which one's that? Let me see. Ah, yes, he's at St. Bartholomew's, or Bart's as Londoners call it. We know that place, don't we? Yes, we visited Miss Green there yesterday. It's the same hospital to which she was taken. Oh yes, after Saseki-san stabbed her in the back. Do be careful of your phrasing, Naruhodo-san. He didn't stab anyone. Perhaps we both owe Saseki-san an apology. St. Bartholomew's, yes. We should probably visit the hospital later. So what's next? So we know that Saseki-san took tea to the victim on the night in question. But as he isn't the culprit, then obviously... Yes, the poison surely wasn't in the tea. But if that's the case, how on earth did the poison get into Mr. Shamspear's body? I'm sure we'll find a clue at the scene. There must be something in Mr. Shamspear's room that will help solve the mystery. Well, naturally, Scotland Yard detectives have been over the place already, but it couldn't hurt for us to have another look around, I think. Definitely. And I'm desperate to know the outcome of the investigation into the tea left in the bar of soap. Well, if we run into Inspector Gregson, we could ask him about that. Kazuma's wishes. Kazuma Asogi, the best friend I ever had, and a lawyer with such promise. He really saved my bacon in that horrible incident just before we left Japan. I can still picture him now, looking so fierce and determined in court. And then after the trial, that crazy idea he came up with. Is it stowaway? Yes. You can fit inside my trunk if you curl up small enough. And sure, no one will know. Kazuma, won't you tell me why? Why go to these lengths so that I can accompany you to Great Britain? Well, it's been on my mind ever since we got through that trial. Do you really want to get into law? Be a defense lawyer. You've got a natural talent for it. Believe me, I guarantee it. But I've never even thought about becoming a lawyer. Well, I can't force you, obviously. You'll have to decide for yourself. But anyway, London is the cultural capital of the world. The city at the forefront of everything. It can't hurt for you to see it with your own eyes. No, that's true. I suppose, though, if you were to become a lawyer, and one day... One day what? Oh, no. Never mind. Naruhodo-san? Oh, sorry, I was just thinking about Kazuma. Yes, he's forever in my thoughts, too. To change the Japanese judicial system for the better. That was his dream. And that's why he so desperately wanted to come to Great Britain to study, of course. Yes, that's right, but... Yes? I do wonder if his true intentions lay elsewhere sometimes. I don't know, the thought just takes hold of me every now and then, that's all. Kazuma's true intentions. Naruhodo-san, what do you mean by Kazuma-sama's true intentions? I mean this. That's the first time we've seen him hold the sword up. His katana? I never expected to inherit this sword after Kazuma passed away, of course. No, I know. It was because I asked you to take it. When I have it at my side in court, I feel as though it gives me courage. Yes. Actually, the night before he died, he told me a little about the sword. Oh, this is new backstory. I think. Karuma? Oh, never mind. He did talk about this before. That's right. It's a prized sword that's been passed down through generations of the Asogi clan. A Japanese man's sword is his soul, Ryunosuke. I can't be parted from my katana. Karuma guides me. I truly believe that. So its name compels its welder to slice evil in two? Not that you would need much compelling. On that subject, there is something very important that I have to do in Great Britain. Something you have to do? Yes. I'd appreciate you seeing it through with me. Of course, I will. Whatever it is, I'll see it through to the end with you. I knew you wouldn't let me down. What did he mean by something very important that I have to do? I had hoped that the answer to that question would become apparent when we arrived here, but as yet, I've not found a single clue. I see. Can we look at the armband? You've been wearing that ever since we arrived in Great Britain, haven't you? Well, it's what shows that I'm a lawyer, so it seems appropriate. I'm not sure that it really means much in this country, though, I'm afraid. I wouldn't say that. It might not be official, but it looks official. Often when the police stop me, I just show them this and they leave me alone. You're stopped by the police? Often? Well, you know, I'm a suspicious foreigner, dressed all in black with a sword at my side. I do think it's probably the sword that's the main reason. Still, it makes me happy to see you wearing it, and the armband. Yes, I made up my mind that I'll carry them always. The symbol of whom I am, and the sword, Karuma. Okay. Well, we got places to go. Anything going on in Sholmes' suite? 22nd of February, Sholmes' suite. Oh, Runo and Susie! Hooray, you're back! Hello, Iris. You're in fine spirits as always, I see. I am, and you look as immaculately presented as ever, Susie. Oh, you flatter me. Well, you couldn't have come at a better time. I've just made a pot of tea. I'll set some cups. Really? Thanks, Iris. But actually, what is that foul smell?
Aha! The Wanderers return at last. On earth have you been?
We've been in court.
Oh!
For Mr. Mustache's case, that was today, was it? I'm sure I mentioned it only yesterday, Mr. Sholmes. I'm sure you think you did. Well, we can laugh about it now. So tell me, how did the trial go? Reasonably well so far. We've managed to escape without a guilty verdict, at least. Really? I would have liked to see it. I must pass the time of day with Mr. Reaper again. It's been too long. Is Lord Van Zykes an acquaintance, Mr. Sholmes? Naturally. There's not a person in the world who doesn't know my name, Mr. Naruhodo. Not quite what I asked, but still. Mr. Sholmes, whatever is that odor? Yes, what is it? It's faint, but absolutely awful. Ah, indeed. That's the scent of victory, my dear fellows. Victory in science. Oh dear. Alright, I'll bite. What's he up to now? Lord Barak Van Zykes. Yes, it's an interesting sobriquet he has, isn't it? The Reaper of the Bailey. Once the legendary prosecutor has fought for someone's conviction, that person is doomed, even if he or she is found not guilty by the courts. Sooner or later, the hapless soul will vanish from the capital. But vanish how exactly? By falling under a passing carriage, or drowning in the Thames, or succumbing to a sudden fever, or quite out of the blue, being set upon by a highwayman. There are numerous routes to one's final terminus, my dear fellow. It all seems a little far-fetched, really. Well, on the bright side, Mr. Mustache is fighting fit. For the time being, at least. That's not overly reassuring. If the rumors are true, though, the obvious conclusion would surely be that those acquitted are, well, by Lord Van Zykes' own hand. As it happens, Mrs. Otto, that is quite impossible. Oh? Why? Naturally, the man very quickly came under such suspicion. However, whenever these incidents occurred, the Reaper always had a cast-iron alibi. Really? And so his reign continued. But 5 years ago, he vanished from the courts, never to appear as a prosecutor again. And that is, until you arrived in the country, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, so I've heard. In fact, it was the very day I arrived when I was thrust into that trial at the Old Bailey. That bitter fight to the death coincided with the Reaper's resurrection, and really did end up bitterly indeed. And here you are, facing Mr. Reaper again. Poor Runo, I don't know if you're just incredibly unlucky, or incredibly unlikable. I think it goes deeper than just me. I sense a general loathing of all Japanese people. Oh. So, what is that indescribably foul smell? Ah, well, most probably this, I would say. What is that? My dear fellow, it is, of course, my latest invention. A chemical test that can identify whether or not tea is genuine at the drop of some tea. Oh my. There are some unscrupulous sorts manning the stalls along some of London's less frequented streets. They regularly sell what purports to be a high-quality tea, but is in fact merely dried leaves of drab flavor. Well, that's certainly unsavory behavior. So, when one is presented with what appears to be black tea, one must be careful. Iris? At the ready, Hurley. I'm going to set a drop of my chemical to this cup of tea here. Do you see what happens? It turned completely black. And what a foul odor it's giving off. Indeed, the blacker the tea becomes, and the more foul the odor, the better the tea is. It would appear that this cup was particularly fine Darjeeling. That's very ingenious, but what do you do with that black liquid now? Why, dispose of it, naturally. Surely you wouldn't like to drink it, would you? There does seem to be a rather obvious problem with your new invention, Mr. Sholmes. Hence why this chemical test is merely a test, my dear madam. Right. The point is, we are entering a new era of science. In the world of criminal investigation also. Yes, forensic science! Oh, those are such exciting times. I regularly engage in this scientific experimentation alongside my unofficial consulting detective work. The Sherlock Holmes method will be the foundation upon which modern investigation technique is based. This little tea in decant was a happy byproduct of my ongoing forensic science research. Forensic science? I suppose you should find out more about that. I'm sure that won't come up. With Mr. Natsume, who I'm currently defending being Japanese, as well as Mr. Sato and myself, I feel it even more keenly in court today. For some reason, Lord Van Zyke seems to have an inherent disdain of the Japanese. Indeed, it is an interesting observation. Do you know something about it? Do you, Mr. Sholmes? It was about 10 years ago that Barak Van Zyke chose to enter the legal profession. However, before that time, the young man's closest companion hailed from the Empire of Japan. No! What the? Tell us more, Mr. Sholmes. Drink the tea, drink the black liquid. I wish to become black liquid. I mean, just drink the tea. Wait a minute, is this the black goo from Prometheus? I hope not. I believe I've made it clear before. I'm unable... The tea is venom in disguise. Oh no. Nice. I'm unable to tell you anything about the affair. Oh, but... The veil will be lifted on the events of the past in due course. I have no doubt. For now, however, it is Mr. Mustache who is most deserving of your attention, I believe. Let's talk about forensic science, Mr. Sholmes. Which I just heard today that Sherlock Holmes is entered into the public domain. Again, I guess? I thought he was in the public domain before, but I guess not. So, this character was just called Sherlock Holmes in the Japanese version of this, but they changed it to Sherlock Sholmes, which is a reference to the Arsène Lupin novels that the very popular anime series Lupin III is based off of. So there was a character in that named Sherlock Sholmes, so they named him after that. But this guy is obviously supposed to just literally be Sherlock Holmes. So your tea test, is that an example of forensic science? Indeed it is. An essential tool in cases that hinge on the knowledge of whether some tea is of high or inferior quality. Not a huge number of cases, then. Perhaps a more practical example is required. Fingerprints. Not yet accepted in our courts as evidence, I might add. Really, we are dragging our heels there. I hadn't even heard of them until recently, which is partly why I undertake research in this field myself, of course. Does that mean you're studying fingerprints, Mr. Sholmes? There are others in that field already, and I abhor the company of inferior minds. No, what I'm researching is skin prints. Skin prints? A nomenclature of my own design. As is this chemical agent that makes it possible. It instantly reveals objects touched by whichever person is under investigation. Brilliant, Mr. Sholmes. As long as it doesn't turn everything completely odorous and black. I assure you, my dear fellows, you will witness my forensic talents in action very soon indeed. Well, I think we should go back to the scene and see if we can uncover any new clues. That's the spirit, Bruno! See you later! Yes, until later. No, Mr. Sholmes, we were thinking you'd come with us. You were? Yo, from crying sea cats to attorney's crying objection. No, it's crying Beatrice! Yes, of course. You said so just a moment ago. You said we'd witness your forensic talents in action. Yes. I do recall saying something along those lines. But you go on ahead. I shall be sure to follow you later. In all likelihood. Probably. Maybe. Well... I might. Your commitment astounds me. Oh, thank you, Mr. Sholmes. We'll eagerly await your arrival. Bye-bye, Runo. Bye, Susie. Okay. And I think we've already looked at everything here, right? Oh, there she is. Iris? That's incredible concentration, that is. I find it quite remarkable how she can focus on so many different things at once. Perhaps I should try drinking more herbal tea. The blend third from the right would be good for you, Runo. Oh, Iris? This girl is destined for great things, I'm sure. The power of being an anime inventor girl. If I've remembered correctly, this large and imposing lump of iron is called a typewriter. To think that every single one of the adventures of Sherlock Holmes blossomed from this very machine. Ah, it's such a dreamy thought. I actually had a go on it the other day. The metal bars that move when you hit the keys got all tangled up somehow, and that made Iris angry. Mr. Naruhodo, you're ruining my dreamy thoughts. Please don't do that again. Now I've made Susato-san angry as well. Yeah, she's gonna throw you on the ground like she does. Hasn't done that yet this game, but it's happening. I'm sure it'll happen. The judge got to do it in the first case. That's a charming little white shelf, and full of charming little bottles, too. Oh, yes, but don't touch any of those. They might explode. A charming shelf full of charming bottles full of charring ingredients. You know, I hardly might mistakenly drank from one of them the other day. What? And how? I think he was lucky, though. He hasn't exploded. Yet. Chemistry can be a very hazardous occupation. It's living Mr. Sholmes is the hazardous occupation, if you ask me. Ah, yes, this is where you note down ideas, isn't it, Iris? So, what's on the blackboard today? Buck up, Runo. What is this? Oh, I'm just playing around with ideas for the title of next month's installment. Another idea I had was the barrel coronet. I'm really torn about which one to use. What do you think, Runo? Anything but buck up Runo, obviously. I suppose you're right. I tell you what, I'll surprise you with it. You'll have to wait until next month and see. Ugh, so many sleepless nights. It always strikes me how pretty and neatly arranged this tea set is. It's my favorite one. In fact, I think it's high time for afternoon tea. Wait there, I'll fetch this special blend that I prepared for today. Oh, Iris, you do love your tea, don't you? She looks so happy at the prospect. And after you've drunk it, I'll collect some experimental data, if that's alright. Just what is she about to make me drink? Look at all these mementos of Mr. Sholmes' past cases. You know, Miss Susato's eyes still sparkle every time she lays eyes on them. But yours don't, do they, Runo? Well, I have read The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes now, by order of Miss Susato. But the trouble is, having seen the real thing in action, somehow the stories don't quite ring true for me. Well, he does solve the cases. In the end. I suppose so. Perhaps there's more to the great detective than meets the eye. It's curious how this enormous metal chest is being used as a coffee table. And even more curious to think that Iris's father's notes about Sholmes' cases are inside it. You mustn't look in there, Runo. These notes are a secret between Daddy and me. And Mr. Sholmes is somehow in on the secret. Well, he tends to forget, you see. As soon as he's solved a case, in fact. Once, when he read one of my manuscripts, we had a terrible argument about it. Never have I solved such a case, he said. He was absolutely adamant. Sometimes I wonder if he's from another planet, don't you? Oh, wrong voice. Never mind. That was, Ryunosuke saying that. I do like this fireplace. It's one of the best things I've seen since we arrived in the country, in fact. Although, I do yearn for a Japanese kotatsu. Putting your legs under a warm, blanketed table is so comforting. Do be careful, Mr. Naruhodo. Don't mistakenly put your feet into the fire, will you? You'd suffer terrible burns, you know. And worry sometimes about how Susato-san sees me. Alright. I'm gonna pop over here so we can see Sholmes doing something crazy. Oh, he's just hanging out. Okay. This is Mr. Sholmes' famous violin. The one he found being sold for a song at a pawnbrokery. What's it called again? A shoddy something? Oh yes, this wonderful instrument features in the adventures of Sherlock Sholmes. It's a world-famous Stradivarius. What? Stradivarius, Mr. Naruhodo. Stragavigor... Are you even trying now? We'll come back to this another time, I think. There's all sorts of these shelves. Chemistry apparatus, books, papers, and lots of things I've never even seen before. It's all heaped up so high I can't help feeling that the whole lot is going to topple at any moment. It looks as though it might topple, and yet it doesn't. The epitome of Mr. Sholmes' brilliance. I don't get it. As it happens, I'm quite well practiced when it comes to stacking shelves myself. Just the other day, the shelf in my office finally gave way under the strain, though. It looks as though it might topple, and it does. Yes, the epitome of your disarray. I really don't get it. Let's see. This enormous machine takes up the entire desk, doesn't it? It's really very imposing. Ah, Hurley's great antolithoscope, yes. Can analyze anything at all, you know? But I've never seen anyone actually using it. Well, it's his invention, so I don't know how to operate it. Why don't you get it to analyze its own operation? Oh, Bruno, you're razor sharp today, aren't you? Hey, Sholmes. Mr. Sholmes seems to be making funny faces at something on his desk. I thought he said he was going to come with us to Mr. Shakespeare's room. No doubt he's preparing something, Mr. Naruhodo. Something amazing. And he's doing it whilst asleep. Is there no limit to this man's talents? Okay, so he fell asleep. Nice. Alright, well, let's see. We have Shakespeare's room, the hospital bed, Briar Road, Garadeb's room, and prison. Let's head to the scene of the crime. (22nd of February), Mr. Natsume's lodgings, ground floor. Hey! Oh, hello again, Inspector Gregson.
What are you doing here?
Well, we were hoping to have another look around, actually. The lawyer representing the defendant has a right to examine the scene, as I'm sure you're aware.
Yeah, I'll know the score.
Oh, yes. One other thing. The soap on the ledge outside the window, did you find it with the tea in it?
Yeah, we found it all right. And there was a small amount of tea in it, as you said.
I knew it.
It's with the identification section at the yard now. They're looking into it. The results should be available later today.
It's wonderful news, thank you. Pretty impressive performance in court this morning. Sorry?
Nothing. Forget it. Just make sure you don't disturb anything in here.
Oh, Gregson, you big softy. Oh! Oh, look who's here. Should we just ignore him for now? Oh, we already looked at this. Yeah. If you ran out of change, you wouldn't even have any light, let alone heat. For the needy, London's winters can be very harsh. That's true, but if you think about it, even the wealthy would find themselves freezing if they ran out of small change. London's winters can be very harsh for the forgetful too, then. Frankly, I'm starting to wonder if Susato-san and I are going to make it to spring. That's true, we don't even have a meter at Baker Street, let alone a gas stove. With how dark the stain on the floor is underneath the meter there. Yes, from all the water dripping out after the ice coins melted as you established in court this morning. It's a very large and obvious stain, isn't it? Mr. Shamspeare must have used an awful lot of ice coins, I suppose. It was an ingenious idea. I'll give him that. This is a different remix of the usual investigation theme, isn't it? Yeah, this isn't quite the same. Da, da, da. Sorry, I just really like this game's music. It's awesome. We could talk to Gregson a bit too in a minute, but the ill-fated teacups from which the two men drank on the ill-fated night. During their heated literary debate, yes. Who's stronger, Romeo or Juliet? It sounds like it was quite a discussion. Now I think of it, I'm sure that the two lovers in the play ended their lives with poison. That's fiction, Mrs. Sato. Let's hope it stays that way. There was the envelope. Alright, Gregson, let's talk. Are you looking for new clues, Inspector?
Lord Van Zyk's orders, yeah. Don't come back till you've got something for me, he says. Tch.
Oh dear, poor you.
Poor me, because we've already searched every bladed nook and cranny in this place. I don't know what he expects, to be honest.
Thank goodness for warm chips is all I can say. Well, at least he's honest. The sun never shines in this room thanks to that depressing bricked-up window. Yeah, with enough determination, you can always remove the bricks to set some soap outside, can't you? That sounds like a very wise life lesson, Mrs. Sato. Only if you plan to follow a life of crime, Mr. Naruhodo. Alright. Oh, the soap. Let's look at that. So it turns out that Mr. Shamspeare wasn't eating the soap at all. That's right. The mystery of why he had it on a plate whilst holding a fork in his hand is solved. Yes, to prise his latest ice coin out of its mold. And in the process, he accidentally broke the bar of soap in two. It certainly was hard to imagine, let alone deduce. Mr. Sholmes, what are you up to over there? What a question indeed. Was it not your good self who asked me to attend the scene?
Oi, what are you doing here, Sholmes?
What are you up to over there? What are you doing there? Dear me. Once a great detective, one is always under scrutiny, it seems. Is now the time, Mr. Sholmes? Are you about to show us your forensic talents in action as you promised? With the greatest of pleasure, my dear madam. Are we getting a new mini-game? What's all this? All this is precisely what you requested, Mr. Naruhodo. Herlock Sholmes' sensational skin print Sika gun. Moments ago, I took a sample from the teacup that was used by the victim. A sample from Mr. Shamspeare's cups? Each individual leaves microscopic secretions on everything he or she touches. A sample of those secretions is all I need to produce this, a refined indicator solution. By liberally spraying the room with this chemical, everything the victim touched is instantly revealed with the aid of these goggles. Here, try them on. There, now, spray the chemical indicator about and all will be revealed. Spray? How? How do I do that exactly? A little press on the spacebar on the area you're interested in is all that's required, like this. What is that stuff? It's like fog. A suspension of the chemical indicator in a pressurized gas. It's the most efficient way to cover a large area. That was another invention I discovered incidentally whilst I was developing this idea. As you do. Go ahead, try it, my dear fellow. You may learn something interesting about the victim's movements on the night in question. Well, there's nothing to lose, I suppose. Let's explore. Okay, so this is just like the luminol spraying minigame from Phoenix Wright. Aha. Nothing over there. Okay. Look, there are dozens of handprints here. So there are. A great many indeed. So much so that it's hard to make out any one individual print, in fact. Ugh, sends a chill down my spine. Perhaps he was leaning against the wall while he admired this picture? Unlikely, I would say. It's a rather dull scene, after all. And without wishing to state the obvious, you wouldn't generally admire a picture from such close quarters, I feel. Oh, very true, Mr. Sato. It's a bit of a mystery, then. Anything over here? Okay. Do we have everything? Is that it? I can't think of anything I possibly have missed. Dozens of handprints. Oh, there we go. Oh, look at all this here. Ah, yes, interesting. A multitude of the victim's handprints. Why are there so many of them on the floor in this one spot? Oh, perhaps he had a bad fall just here. There's nothing obvious that he would have tripped over, though, is there? I wonder. Personally, I often stumble when there's nothing obvious to trip over. I think that's something only a great detective would do, Mr. Sholmes. Well, this is quite a puzzle. Handprints all over the floor. Yes, there's no obvious explanation. Well, we sprayed Mr. Sholmes' amazing skin print indicator all over this room, didn't we? We did, but there are two places in particular that are of interest, I would say. The handprints on the floor there, and on the wall by the picture, you mean? Yes, and I think the floor warrants closer investigation. I won't be a moment. Ah! What is it, Mr. Sato? Look here, Mr. Naruto. One of the floorboards has popped out. One of the... You mean, it's a secret hiding place? Excellent work, Mr. Sato. So what do we have in here?
Oh, what are you lot doing?
Inspector Gregson?
Stand aside right this minute. It's my job to investigate there.
No need, Inspector. You continue to dig into your portion of chips while we dig around under the floor here.
Your fancy talk's putting me off of my food anyway, Sholmes. A little bit of evidence is exactly what I need.
Wow, a secret hiding place under the floor. What a find. It's not a hiding place you could make use of in Japan. I don't think I could lift a straw to tell me that. No, I know, but I never expected one of those wooden floorboards to move either. It's got me wondering about the wall over there, too. Aren't you curious? Oh! I'll investigate it once. There's nothing behind the picture, sadly. Only the wall. How disappointing. But then, how do you explain the handprints? I really can't think of why anyone would have been touching the wall over and over in one place like that. But... There you are. A print for you. The photographic print of the handprints on the wall has been entered into the court record. Well, that's good. Oh, thank you very much. His invention can make prints too. Now then, I wonder if Inspector Gregson has found anything under the floor there. I'm desperate to know. So am I. Alright, Greggy. Tell us what's up. I'd love to know if there's anything hidden underneath the floorboard there. Allow me to ask Gregson now. After all, we're well acquainted. Inspector Gregson. Really? It's been too long. What is it, Sholmes? I thought perhaps you might show me what you found there. Seeing as we're such good friends. We're not friends. No, I suppose not. A dismal failure. Yes, I heard. Ugh, I'd kill to know what was under that floorboard.
Alright then, fair's fair.
What?
You did discover the hiding place after all. I suppose I should at least fill you in.
Really, Inspector? Thank you. Do it quickly, my dear fellow. If there's one thing I know about this man, it's that he blows with the wind, as fickle as the weather.
Oi, stop making me out to be some kind of nut.
There were
3 items under the floor there. A newspaper clipping, a photographic print, and a tin box.
Now, what do you want to know? Tell us about the newspaper clipping.
Looks like this was cut out of the paper about 3 months ago.
About a convict who got sick and died while he was serving time up in Manchester. How terrible.
It made the headlines down here in London as well. The bloke had been sentenced to death, you see. Nature got him first.
Oh my goodness. He'd committed a capital offense?
A man by the name of Selden. Nasty piece of work. Into burglaries and murder. He said the hoard he knocked up was worth about £1,000.
A hoard? A treasure, you mean?
Jewelry and the like. But he'd hidden it somewhere, and no one knows where. And now he's dead. The papers loved it, of course. £1,000 lost and road to hell. Some such was the headline.
Does it not strike you, though? Why such an article would be so carefully ensconced under the floor?
I suppose now you mention it, it does seem a bit odd. Perhaps I'll go over the paperwork we've got on Selden back of the yard, see if I can turn anything up.
Alright. Capital offender article. Photographic print.
So, this is the photograph I found. Looks reasonably recent to me.
Hey, yeah, that's Garrett. Yes, it would appear to have been taken on the streets in front of the house here. And the gentleman on the left is Mr. Garrett, the landlord, of course. Who's the young man on the right? Mr. Garrett's son, perhaps?
Perhaps. You can take that print if you like.
Really? Are you sure? We can presume, therefore, that the yard already knows the identity of the young fellow, that is. Is that true?
That's too bad if we do. Unfortunately for you lot, leaking information isn't one of my pastimes. Oh, snap.
See, it's funny, because the last case of the last game, he leaked information to the culprit. My dear Inspector, if I may be so bold as to point something out. Pastimes are for one's leisure, but this is for work.
All the more reason I'm not telling you.
A dismal failure. Yes, I heard. The hidden photograph has been entered into the court record. I wonder why a photograph like this was hidden under the floor. I mean, Mr. Shamspeare himself isn't in it. Photographic prints are still rare treasures in the East End. I imagine Mr. Garrett was rather delighted to have been immortalized. He probably made a proud present of it. A tin box.
Now, the tin box looks interesting, doesn't it?
Might I suggest, Inspector, that you open it. If you were to find something inside that reveals the truth behind this case, I wouldn't be in the least surprised. Yeah, funnily enough, I've already had a look. It's completely empty. What? Shakespeare! Give us a clue, man! You didn't even have the chance to utter a word, Mr. Naruhodo. But anyway, at least we found out what's inside the box. Yes, thin air. It's empty. Rather like how I feel inside. Is there nothing more to this box, then? I wonder. Oh! Oh look, it's that lovely little kitty cat. What was its name? It's Mr. Natsume's, isn't it? I don't think we ever asked him, actually. Why don't we call it, Wagahai? You know, like Mr. Natsume refers to himself in Japanese? I wonder how he got in here, clever cat. Oh, wonderful. Well then, Wagahai, here's something delicious I brought for you from the cat's meat man. He couldn't be happier now, look! I just hope we can bring some happiness to his owner, too. Alright, I think we got everything here that we can find. So, how's about... we head to the Gyarados room. 22nd of February, Mr. and Mrs. Gyarados' room. Mr. Gyarados appears to be out. Oh well. I suppose we'll just have to come back again later. Well, that's too bad. Anything going on Olive Road? 22nd of February, Briar Road. I don't think so. What about maybe go to the hospital? Anything going on with Miss Green? 22nd of February, St. Bartholomew Hospital Ward. What do you suppose is happening? It sounds like some sort of disturbance. Yes, I hear angry voices. Oh. Be not angry, O ample lady. Verily, thou art mistaken. Mistaken my foot! You were looking at my painting! The eye of man hath not heard, the ear of man hath not seen. 'Twas foul indeed, the poison that mustached villain gaveth me. Forgive me, lady. I wish that you died from that poison. God have mercy, ample lady. But thou seest I have vigor still. Behold my Shakespeare dance! This looks rather ominous, doesn't it? Ah, lo, 'tis the lawyer from the land whence riseth the sun. How now? What are you doing here, Mr. Shakespeare? Marry, I do believe I am returned unto another world. He was looking, that's what he was doing, looking at my terrible work. Eastern fellow, so dark ye clad. Faith, thy work in court this morning was wonderful. I do applaud thee. Oh, well, thank you. But that doesn't mean things will go so wonderfully for you tomorrow, does it? Anon, exeunt. Uh-oh. Mr. Shakespeare might technically be the victim in this case, but there's definitely a lot more to it than that. It's very hard to pin the man down. I'm so sorry. I'm such an awful person. Miss Green, is everything alright?
Oh, yes. Don't worry about me. They're about to discharge me, so I must get ready to leave now.
Oh, I see. We're delighted that you'll soon be well enough to go home, Miss Green.
Oh dear, you're too kind. I don't deserve it.
What about, can we look at the painting? Nothing particularly of note. Okay. The reasonable rat is still here. But, alright, let's talk to her. So, are you feeling more like yourself today, Miss Green?
I am, thank you. I mean, people do recover from ordeals like this, don't they? Even people like me?
Well, yes. It really was an ordeal, wasn't it?
As far as I was concerned, I was just walking along in the snow one evening, minding my own business, and then completely out of the blue, I was struck in the back by a knife and collapsed unconscious for days. Of course, when I finally woke again yesterday, the whole business had been cleared up already.
What a terrible week it's been for you.
Oh no, I'm sure I'm very lucky, really. I'll look back on this fondly.
Really?
Anyway, I must be getting my things together now, so I'm ready to be discharged.
Oh yes, of course. Sorry to take up your time, but you're obviously busy. Okay. I wonder why he was looking at her, stuff. We can go to prison, I guess. Talk to, Mr. Natsume. 22nd February, local prison, cell 9.
Oh, Mr. Natsume is back.
Yes, Mr. Natsume, hello. You okay there, Natsume?
I am a cat.
Sorry?
I don't know who Mr. Natsume is, or Hairlock Sholmes. I don't know about courts or trials, or Old Baileys. I am a cat. That's what I am, just a cat. Mr. Naruhodo, he's trying to escape from reality.
Trying to? He already has, completely. So, what is your name then?
As yet, I have no name. Mr. Naruhodo, he hasn't fully thought out his new identity yet. Maybe it's not too late to bring him back to reality.
Do you think you could open up your eyes for us, Mr. Natsume?
I am not a cat. It worked. He's back in the real world. What's going to become of me? No! Don't answer that! It's obvious! My accursed soul is never going to escape this accursed fate!
Mr. Natsume, no! This morning's proceedings in court prove that there's hope.
Yes, locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire was brilliant, but... The Reaper is omnipresent in court, in my lodgings, here, there, everywhere.
What's he looking straight at me for? I think perhaps there's some things we should discuss.
Oh, yes, we must.
Talk about the morning's trial.
In my whole life, have I ever been so moved as I was today? No! Of course, if I cast my mind back, there were perhaps one or two occasions that moved me more. But if I just blocked those out, then today, being in that courtroom was the most moving experience of my life, locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire!
You're too kind. Scotland Yard found the remaining tea just as we deduced and are analyzing it as we speak.
There's nothing wrong with that tea. They won't find a drop of poison in it. That's a solemn sworn Soseki certainty.
Tell me, did you both drink tea at the same time that night?
Oh yes, most definitely. Remember, drink tea while it's hot. We both poured it down our throats like it was a hot bath for our bellies.
And at the time, you were both completely fine. As shown by the fact that he and Mr. Shamspear then engaged in the Romeo and Juliet match. I suppose the focus of tomorrow's proceedings will be how the poison was taken by the victim, then. Okay, oh, I definitely hit the wrong button there. Skipping time. Man. Mr. Natsume is like MVP of character who keeps showing up in this series so far. But Phoenix Wright, the core series, has its cast of very frequent characters who show up all the time too, so that's not surprising. Shamspear. That rotten Shamspear. What have I ever done to him? You don't recall him taking issue with you over anything you've done recently? I've been holed up in my room, immersed in books. I don't recall anything. Anything at all. Right. But what I don't understand is why he didn't let me know sooner. Let you know what, Mr. Natsume? About the soap, of course. What else? Oh dear. Are you struggling with such a meager stipend? Of course I am. If I had money, I wouldn't have chosen to live in a cursed existence in such accursed lodgings. Oh yes, you said it because the place is cursed that it's so cheap, didn't you? Exactly. Especially the room that I rent. The spirit of that capital offender who lived there still haunts the place, and it's trying to kill me! Capital offender? Uh-oh. We're seeing a mix here. Might I ask, locum student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire, that the next time you visit me, you bring scores of super soft soaps. Let's present him the capital offender article. What's this? It's a newspaper cutting that we found in Mr. Shamspear's room. Ah, so he knew, did he? Sorry? About this man, Selden. A convicted killer, and the evil spirit behind the curse that afflicts my lodgings. What? He's already taken one young man's life, and now he's trying to take the life of another, a miserable, mustache, much maligned Japanese man. Mr. Natsume, if you know something, please, you must tell us. Tell us everything you can about this evil spirit. The capital offender Selden. The truth is, I didn't know the details myself until very recently. That Selden man was arrested about a year ago now, and at the time he was hiding out in lodgings at Mr. Garadeb's house. What? He lived where you do now? That's right, yes, exactly where I live now, in my very room. Oh my, your room was previously occupied by a criminal found guilty of a capital offense? But before his sentence could be carried out, he died in prison. That was 3 months ago now. And that's when it started. The curse. What really is this curse you keep mentioning, Mr. Natsume? It's already caused one death. A few months after the criminal passed away in prison, a man died in the room. The man who rented it after Selden, in fact. The poor lodger, he was found dead in mysterious circumstances. The room was locked from the inside. Locked from the inside? Exactly like the case we're dealing with now. So that's the convict's curse, is it? Yes. Well, that was the start of it. Do you have any idea how the lodger before you passed away, Mr. Natsume? The official cause of death was asphyxia. When they discovered the body, the room was full of gas. Gas? I only found that out after I'd signed the lease. When Mr. Garadeb came to tell me later, I couldn't stop myself trembling. In fact, if I'd known beforehand, I'd probably have been too scared to take the room. Landlord's lease, luckily legal. Lucky for Mr. Garadeb, maybe, but not so lucky for poor Mr. Natsume. Now you believe this curse is affecting you? It is. At first, I just felt as though I was being watched all the time. And then you talked about having nightmares, didn't you? The dead are trying to take me with them. They come for me and try to suffocate me. Just when I'm struggling to breathe, I wake up. And the room is as cold as ice. But Why is your room so cold? London winters are too cold to bear without any heating and overnight, but for some reason, even though I light the stove before I go climb into bed at night, the pilot light always goes out and the room fills with gas. But that's terrible. It's exactly the same situation as what led to the previous occupant's death. And then there's what happened to Mr. Shamspeare last night when he was mysteriously poisoned. There's clearly more to that incident that can be explained by a curse, though. Whatever can be the cause of all these strange happenings in Mr. Geardip's rooms? That is the question, isn't it? Does he know anything about this picture? Mr. Natsume. There's nothing much, but... it's been too long since I've been offered a present with that delightfully humble etiquette of our homeland. What? You're too kind. I accept it gladly. Sorry, but I wasn't trying to give it to you, actually. Okay. I think... Do you know anything about this? Mr. Natsume... No, there's nothing there. Yeah. Yeah, okay. So, all of this stuff he doesn't actually know about. That's good to know. Alright, I think we're done with Mr. Natsume. Is there anything going on at the hospital? That is a no. What about Sholmes' suite? No. Let's see if Mr. Geardip is available. Hey, we did it. 22nd of February, Mr. and Mrs. Geardip's room. There he is! Ah, you're here now, Mr. Geardip.
Right bally business it is for me, you know, getting out and about.
Were you at the Old Bailey by any chance?
Naturally, the fate of my lodgings hanging in the balance and all that, not a trial to miss.
The fate of what's already been dubbed your haunted lodgings, yes.
Of course, the place has caused quite a stir around the capital on more than one occasion already.
As the old haunted lodgings, or some such. Ah, well, at least he knows.
Makes you wonder what the blazes is going on, don't you know?
Yes, I'm sure it does. In fact, thinking back to Mr. Natsume's other trial just 2 days ago, you were at the Old Bailey then as well, weren't you? Testifying with your wife about what happened.
Stopped off at the prison on the way home, in fact. Beastly business.
I see.
So, what brings you to my haunted abode today, eh?
You're a fun guy, Mr. Geardip. Your lodgings?
Some fishy fellow from the Far East and a failed actor, a chap of questionable character, eh? Yes, the house does seem to have become something of a magnet for rum fellows of late.
Thanks to that bally curse. The convict's curse, you mean?
Ah, heard the stories, have you? The rotten scoundrel was arrested here, then the next chap in the room goes and keels over. And there was that woman who dropped dead just outside on the street, not to mention the actor yesterday. Am I next, eh? Well, can't help but get the collywobbles, can you?
When you say the woman who dropped dead outside on the street, do you mean Miss Green? Because Miss Green, who was stabbed by the knife, and Mr. Shamspeare, who was poisoned last night, are both very much alive still. So, I think we're rubbing up against the Phoenix Wrights series' insistence on not spoiling previous entries, because, you know, his wife was the culprit in that case, accidental though it was. And they're not just coming out and saying that.
Yes, well, so was that blasted convict's curse, it seems.
Personally, I should be quite content with such lodgings. A bath, a toilet, a fireplace, a fascinating history. Why, it sounds like the lap of luxury. I'm not so sure about that. Well, there's no bath or toilet included, and no fireplace either. But you do look out for your tenants, don't you? By watching the rise and fall of the flames in your gas lamps up here? Yes, never hurts to keep an eye on things. In case there are any mishaps or such like. I think you've had your mishap already, sir. That's not helpful, Mr. Sholmes. Oh, heaven forgive me, the words just came to my lips. Sholmes is the best. Some fishy fellow from the Far East, and a failed actor, a chap of questionable character. There's no need for that, Mr. Garrett. That's right, Mr. Natsume is in no way fishy. He is undeniably peculiar, however. Is it right that he took the vacancy immediately after the previous tenant passed away? Yes, that's right. I asked the estate agent to find someone and he popped up the very same day. Never come across a chap so keen for a place with a background, as it were. I don't think it was the room's background he was keen on so much as the cheap rent, actually. So, how long has Mr. Shakespeare been lodging under your roof? That failed actor chap? Let me see. Oh, of course. Yes, it's been 3 months now. Quite sure of it. Only 3 months? He's quite new here then, too. And to what do you owe your certainty in that regard, Mr. Garrett, if I might ask? Well, it was that Selden scoundrel as it happens. Selden, the convict, you mean? Do Selden and Shakespeare have some kind of connection, then? That convict chap, Selden, passed away in the clink 3 months ago now, you see. It's a malady or other. Yes, we've seen the report from the newspaper at the time. Well, it was only 3 days later that the tragedian showed his face, the actor fellow. Really? Oh no, is Shakespeare and Selden the same person? Yes, I remember it quite distinctly. 'Tis small this world we inhabit. Prithee, landlord, hear my request. I, the humble Shakespeare, do desire to take thy room on the middle floor offered erewhile for rent. Terribly sorry and whatnot, but that won't be possible. I already have a lodger on the middle floor. Ground floor room is vacant, though. Nothing can be made out of nothing. Let me repeat mine on will unto thee. Those curls must be muffling your ears. The room on the middle floor is taken. It's ground floor or nothing. Very well. We have an accord. Glad to hear it. So we're going to Briar Road. Lo, where Shakespeare intends to celebrate. From what I heard in court today, it sounds like the chap was thieving gas. And he was 3 months in arrears with the rent, too. Yes, fellow was a bally player, all right. Thank you for your candor, Mr. Yedideb. We are most grateful. By way of appreciation, allow me to say 1 or 2 words. Give me my robe. Put on my crown. I have immortal longings in me. What's happened to you? Shakespeare, my dear fellow, one of his most famous lines. I wish to divulge my own learning of the subject, for I have a turn for literature too, you know. Perhaps you could turn your attention to more apt lines, then? Alright. Do you know the article? Mr. Garrett, can I show you this? Been quite a couple of days, as you can imagine. I'm afraid I'm rather tired. Haven't really got the energy in the old eyeballs, to be honest with you. Some other time, though. What about this picture? Mr. Garrett, could I ask you to look at this photograph?
Look at this photograph!
Is that your son who's with you there? No, not at all. He was a lodger here once. Duncan Ross was his name. Duncan Ross? Street photographer happened to be passing, so I asked him to take a shot. Just for kicks, really. Was he by any chance the lodger before Mr. Natsume? Yes, that's right. Ah, the young gentleman who died in the room under mysterious circumstances. Just what Mr. Mustache was waiting for, one might say. Yes, young Duncan lived in the room at the top of the first flight of stairs before that Japanese chap. Would you mind telling us a little more about him? Yes, Duncan Ross, a young chap, was attending art school. Had work to pay for it, mind. Moved into the middle floor room about a year ago, after that criminal Selden was arrested. Young students are always on the hunt for rooms with a history behind them. A history of cheap rent, maybe, yes? Yes. Well, anyway, it was one morning about a month ago now. Hadn't quite worked out the old trick of watching the gas lamp, see what my lodgers are up to at the time. So sadly, I was rather tardy to discover what had happened. Smell of gas that alerted me, it was. Ah, yes, synonymous with the smell of death. Called the police straight away, of course, and the officer kicked the door off its hinges. Once we got inside, we were all badly collapsed. Because of the gas? Yes, the room was full of it. No air at all. Stove must have gone out while the poor chap was sleeping in his bed. So Mr. Ross suffocated to death. Of course, the police gave me a sound ticking off because the gas pipes were so old and all that. Can't tell you how much it set me back to have the lump replaced all over the house. But even after you had all that work done, Mr. Natsume says the same thing. That the stove goes out at night whilst he's asleep in bed. Well, that's the bally curse, the convict's curse. I've done my duty as a landlord now. Someone's feeling defensive. Ah, that reminds me, actually. Yes? About young Duncan, the night before the poor chap perished. He'd been writing a letter of affection to a young lady. A love letter, you mean? Yes. Where did I put it now? Here it is. Left it on my desk. If you'll excuse me. Let me see now. What does it say? To my most beautiful and charming sweetheart. Do you think that we should be reading such a personal piece of correspondence? My dear Mr. Sato, that is precisely why I prefaced my reading with, if you'll excuse me. I will not excuse you, Mr. Sholmes. No. Sadly, he didn't address it, though. I have no means of delivering the thing. Rather sad, really. I see. That's going to play on my mind. But really, the identity of Mr. Ross's sweetheart has no bearing on the case. I think we should leave well alone. Yes, I suppose you're right. Indeed, the intended recipient's address is missing. However, there is a name attributed to the man's most beautiful and charming sweetheart. Mr. Sholmes, please. I've already had to chastise you about this once. My undying love to you, my colorful darling, Olive Green. Ah, Olive Green. The woman was plunged into a coma after a knife plunged into her back outside this house 5 days ago? The victim of the last case Saseki-san was in court for, who regained consciousness only yesterday. Is it just chance that her name has come up now? Could it possibly be a mere coincidence? Mr. Naruto, whatever can this mean? Reading personal correspondence can have its merits, you see, Mr. Sato. Ha 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 ha! Alright. Let's see, can we pick her up? Let's see, is she still here at the hospital? Oh no, she's gone. 22nd of February, St. Bartholomew's Hospital, Recovery Ward. Mr. Naruhodo, I've just finished speaking with the doctor. It seems Miss Green is well enough to be discharged at last. Well, this is good news, but hopefully just before she leaves... Ah! What is it? Screen! What's that? She clearly just hit something behind her back. One moment, I'll be with you in a jiffy. Oh, hello everyone. What are you all doing here? The doctor said I can be discharged, so I'm just getting my things together. Miss Green, what were you just doing? Oh, nothing. Really. I was just about to take some medicine the doctor prescribed for me, that's all. Well, we were hoping to have another quick chat with you, if that's alright. I don't really have anything else to tell you. Alright, she's definitely behaving strangely. Let's see if we can't coax something out of her. Oh, we don't actually have the love letter, okay. Miss Green, we were hoping to ask you about someone. Mr. Duncan Ross? You knew him, didn't you? Oh no, I'm so sorry. The bottle of medicine fell down when she did. Oh, Miss Green, are you alright? What happened? I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to startle you like that. No, it's alright. I just wasn't expecting it. But how do you know? About Duncan? Mr. Ross had been writing a letter when he passed away. The landlord found it in his room. It was a very personal letter to you. I was at the art school. That's where I met Duncan. A year ago now. He was working to fund his studies. He dreamt of becoming a professional artist one day. And the two of you became romantically involved? Yes, that's right. We were very much in love. We were engaged to be married, actually. That's why he decided to move into a cheaper room to save money for the wedding. And that's what led him to Mr. Garreteb's? Yes, he told me he'd found the worst but cheapest room in the entire East End. And then, 1 month ago, that's when it happened. We're so terribly sorry, Miss Green. Well, it's all in the past now, I suppose. Poor Miss Green. She looks desperately sad. I was starting to think that's just her look. But now I see that she has every reason to feel the universe is against her. It's wonderful news that you're going to be discharged, Miss Green. Oh, yes, I mean, thank you. Once people are better, the hospital staff don't want them lingering and wasting space. Not people like me, anyway. So I don't think I should keep anyone waiting. I probably shouldn't stand around and chat. She certainly doesn't seem to be in the mood to talk. That's for sure. I do hope you won't think I'm being rude, but would you mind leaving me in peace now? I have to leave the hospital soon. Oh, I'm so sorry. We didn't mean to hold you up. Of course, we'll be on our way. Mr. Naruhodo, who said that? Oh, Mr. Naruhodo. Surely you were not about to leave. That's quite out of the question. But, Mr. Sholmes, I didn't realize you were here. But of course I was, my dear fellow. Watching intently from the shadows, as always. Well, make your presence known next time. Mr. Sholmes, what's this about? Something which occurs to me with some regularity, Mrs. Sato, is this. Why do detectives insist on such an ex post facto modus operandi? Why, solve a case after it's happened, instead of preventing a case before it happens. That is what sets a great detective apart. What do you mean? There is a case waiting to happen under our very noses, Mr. Naruhodo. So let us avert disaster. Let us prevent this case from ever happening, with nothing but careful observation. Alright? All the clues you need are set before you. You need only look, and you cannot fail to see. You can do it, Mr. Naruhodo. I know you can. Oh. That mouse seems to be dead. Look, I didn't notice it there before, but did you? I think perhaps it drank the medicine that spilled out of that bottle. But that's the bottle that Miss Green was about to drink from when we arrived. You don't think... Ah, I see you've come to appreciate the true nature of this scene. That of a tragedy about to take place. Yes, I think it's falling into place. Miss Green, the contents of the bottle you had before is spilt out on the floor, and the poor mouse that drank it just sadly died. Ah, I think it's clear that the bottle must have contained a powerful poison. Don't worry. I will attend to the mouse presently. Miss Green, were you intending to go the same way as that rodent? To take your own life? Ah! Once we'd left, you would have put it to your lips again, wouldn't you? And taken the poison? No! Miss Green, please. Please talk to us. What about this letter? I want to know about that. It definitely feels as though this card must be relevant. I mean, when we first arrived, Miss Green was standing with it in her hand in what can only be described as a very tense atmosphere. Yes, it may very well be related to whatever incident Mr. Sholmes believes was about to happen here. Perhaps we should ask Miss Green about it. Alright. Yeah, what's going on here? 10 seconds later, we would have arrived at a very different scene here. In all probability, we would not have enjoyed this most delightful conversation. Of course, perhaps it hasn't been quite so delightful from your perspective, Miss Green. Actually, in a way, now that everything's out in the open, I feel like a weight has been lifted. Tell me, how did you acquire that medicine? Well, with this being a hospital and all, when the doctor comes to examine me in the mornings, he always leaves the medicine cabinet open for a while, so I snuck this out when he wasn't looking. It conspicuously lacks a label. I wonder what it contains. I'm afraid I don't really know. But I thought if I drank it, it might just stop the pain somehow. Oh, please, Miss Green, don't talk of such things. Well, it seems clear now that it contains poison. Yes, that poor little mouse is proof of that. Oh no. Oh, it's all my fault. What have I done? I shall remove this to my office, Miss Green. I take it you have no objection. No. None. Neither the sender's name or address appear to be written on the envelope of the card. It arrived by post at my home the day before the incident and put me in hospital here. I have information regarding the death of Duncan Ross. Come to the Slug and Salad on Briar Road at 5 p.m. on the 17th. Don't tell anybody else about this letter or the meeting. It is a matter of utmost importance. Wait a minute. The 17th of this month? That's the day you were stabbed on Briar Road. And 5 p.m. is precisely the time when the incident occurred. The Slug and Salad, yes. A pub on the northern corner of Briar Road. Briar Road being the street that Mr. Geartip's house is on. Does this mean that... Yes, I'm sure you've guessed. That day when I was struck in the back by the knife, I was actually on my way to the Slug and Salad. Goodness. So that's what you were doing on Briar Road that day. I'm sorry I didn't say anything before. I think I really will have to ask you to excuse me now. I've told you everything. Yes, I'm very sorry to have to drag up such painful memories for you. No, it's fine. Miss Green, please, promise us you won't try to do anything like that again. Yes, don't worry. Your detective friend has the bottle now anyway. And besides, I've been stabbed in the back and had a close shave with a bottle of poison, and I'm still here. I think I'm destined to see things through to the end. It might sound a little conceited, but, well, that's how all this has made me feel. Leaving Miss Green and St. Bartholomew's behind, we made our way back to Baker Street with Mr. Sholmes. Well, it would appear we've reached the end of the investigative trial for today. Yes, it's late. And Mr. Nalahuda, did you discover anything that may be of use in your court tomorrow, do you think? Details about Mr. Shamspeare, Mr. Geartip's lodgings, the convict Selden. There are many facets to the case, and we're yet to see to the heart of it, if you ask me. That's my feeling, anyway. I can't help wondering about the results of the analysis. Into Mr. Natsume's tea, you mean? Yes. Will they have found strychnine in it or not? Well, I feel that either way, it would be hard to escape the grip of our friend Mr. Reaper. Oh dear. Yes, Barak Van Zykes. But I wish you every success, of course, and though I was late to rise this morning. Tomorrow will be a new dawn. I intend to spring from my bed at a crisp hour and intend the trial. Mr. Sholmes, you're gonna come? Indeed. Whatever happens, I shall be there. Assuming my eyelids cooperate in the morning. Oh, thank you. Enjoy your night. 5 a.m. Yikes. Well, get up as early as Mr. Sholmes is. Well, I think we've done all we can. All that's left is to remain focused and keep fighting for Mr. Natsume's cause until the area end. London, the world's most prosperous city, home to some 6 million people. But away from the razzle-dazzle, down back alleys, and behind bricked-up windows, the lonely lurk. Seki-san had battled long and hard with loneliness during his many months here, and so I felt honor-bound to battle equally hard for my compatriot, to lift the curse that gripped him. As Mr. Sholmes said, tomorrow would be a new dawn for all of us. To be continued. Alright. We'll do a little bit more into the first case, or into this next trial segment. But real quick, I'm going to take a quick moment to take a break. Alright, I am back, and let us continue. 23rd February, 9:23 a.m., the Old Bailey, defendant's antechamber. It's very quiet. This is it then, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, time to put an end to this now. The miserable curse that has been plaguing Mr. Natsume to everything. And in my own small way, I shall do everything I can to help you. I always appreciate your help, Mr. Sato. Suffering Seki selfishly sidelined. Good morning to you too, Mr. Natsume. Good morning! Good morning, locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. Listen to you two chatting away happily as if the main player of today's trial isn't here. Why would you do that? Why? Oh, dear. We didn't mean to cause offense, Mr. Natsume. I thought perhaps that because you had your eyes shut so tightly you were meditating, finding inner calm. It seemed wrong to disturb you. I was waiting. What's the matter, Mr. Natsume? You seem different somehow today. Why, naturally, that's because I've attained spiritual enlightenment. The path of literature, you see, is a journey to discover one's own death, or such like. That's the sort of morning conversation I was hoping for. That's why I had my eyes shut. I missed the signs, I'm afraid, somehow. You'll have to forgive me. And you mustn't talk of your path leading you to death, Mr. Natsume. That was just an example. Oh, yes, there it is. Inner calm. You barely came to see me at all yesterday. I was sure you'd abandon me and return to our beautiful long-lost homeland. We've not even been in Great Britain a week yet. Yes, well, anyway. I intend to set everything straight in court today. I'm determined to uncover the truth. I've actually reached an important decision myself. Oh? What sort of decision? I shall fill you in after the trial. Alright. It would seem Mr. Sholmes isn't coming today after all. It is a very clever message, I think. My dear fellows, you must win this battle on your own merits. It's a very clear message, I think, that he overslept again. The great detective, my arch nemesis. Long may he stay away, if you ask me. Defendant, and your legal representative. The trial is about to begin. Make your way into the courtroom immediately. So, that's a clear sign he's here in disguise, right? Because that's what he did last time. Today, once again, we face the Reaper. And when the Reaper stands for the prosecution, the defendant's fate is sealed. But I don't believe in the legend any more than I believe in Saseki-san's curse. The truth is hidden here somewhere, and I won't let it escape me. I have to keep believing in my client, and keep fighting to the very end. That's all. February, 9:40 a.m., the Old Bailey courtroom.
In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. I call upon the counsels for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed.
The prosecution is ready. Yes, the defense is ready.
Very good. And now I call upon the 6 ladies and gentlemen of the jury, chosen by lot to represent the will of the people in this trial. Are you ready to proceed? Absolutely. Justice will be done. You mark my words.
I feel obliged to say, I feel especially ruthless on days when my hat is sitting just right. Oh, well, I wonder if you could adjust my hat for me. And please, be as ruthless as you like. Thieves deserve to die, if you ask me. Especially gas thieves. I've no sympathy for the man at all.
Look, I said it yesterday and I'll say it again now. I don't have time for this. I've got my own problems.
Oh, may the Lord show us all the light here, and lead his flock to a righteous verdict again today.
Now, So, Lord Van Zykes, what can you tell us? The prosecution's report, please, for the court. In relation to the theory expounded by the defense yesterday regarding the defendant's teeth.
So he does have the results. Oh no, don't break your glass. Before the prosecution delivers the black news about the black tea belonging to the blackguard in the dark, pray allow me a moment to savor a liquid of a more sanguine hue. In fact, I'll defer to the good detective for the report. Here's to you, Inspector.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. As indicated by the defense, we found a bar of soap just outside the victim's window in the snow. And there was indeed a frozen reddish liquid and a little depression on the top of it.
Yes, that's the tea. That's what Mr. Natsume brought with him that night.
Well, the brains at the yard analysed it, and yes, you're right, it was tea. And there wasn't a trace of strychnine or any other toxic substance in it.
No poison at all.
In other words, the tea that the defendant brought with him to the victim's room is innocent. It's in the clear. What a revelation!
As I suspected. This makes it quite clear. The defendant, Mr. Saseki Natsume, is blameless here. My learned friend is jumping to conclusions again. Typical Nipponese reaction. What? Yes, it's true. No poison was found in the few drops of liquid recovered from the soap on the window ledge. But, what logic is that? Would you take a drop from the Thames and conclude that the water in the ocean isn't salty?
My word! The water in the ocean is extremely salty, Counsel.
Exactly. Unfit for drinking. Just as the victim's tea was, not in question, as the court has already heard. Bitter was the precise word from the lips of Mr. William Shakespeare, whom the prosecution now calls back to the stand.
Very well, I'll uphold the prosecution's request.
Mr. Shakespeare? Yes, it sounds like we're going to have another confrontation with our theatrical friend.
Bailiff, show Mr. Shakespeare to the stand.
Mr. William Shakespeare, the victim of this despicable crime. Oh heaven, oh hell, do you command me to remember? Forsooth, 'twas I, Shakespeare, did have a bellyful of the foul fluid given in mine innocence.
Yes, but as was revealed in yesterday's proceedings, the witness is not as innocent as we had perhaps first been led to believe.
By using bars of soap such as this, he has been stealing gas from the supply company, yes. One may smile and be a villain. Forsooth, 'twas I, Shakespeare, did have a roomful of the sweet fuel given.
That's right, fellow jurors, don't forget, this man is a rotten thief. Haven't forgotten, kept all that about the ice coins entirely secret, didn't you? You should have upped up sooner.
Arrest him, I say. Arrest him at once, and let him feel the sting in my tail. Oh, indeed, by dint of vile and cowardly means have I plotted to further mine own ends, I confess. Thou wouldst not pardon my sins, of that I am sure. If you acknowledged your wrongdoing, what exactly are you doing here? Cowards die many times before their deaths, and for a coward such as I, death be well deserved. But that a still greater crime passeth unpunished. For lo, the heavy-faced gentleman farther east than Bologna did contrive to poison me.
Objection!
But there was no poison in the tea found in your room. The police have attested to that. What the defense would assert is an inconsistency will quickly be cleared up by the witness's testimony. Is that not so, Mr. Shakespeare? Verily, my liege would most gladly speak.
Very well, let the witness testify to explain this inconsistency. Tell the court why it is that the poison apparently entered your body, though none was found in the tea.
The tea inconsistency. The Japanese man did come to my chamber with tea brewed in a pot. 'Twas in my cup alone that the wicked miscreant secretly poured his wicked poison, whilst feigning distraction in our debate, ne'er did a drop of his own drink pass his lips. When he departed by and by, I did use the tea that remained in his cup to make my coins of ice. Thus 'tis no surprise that poison be not found in the tea I did pour into the moulds of soap. The poison was slipped into the cup after the tea had been poured. The normal way for poison to be administered, in my experience.
Quite. Otherwise it would have been disastrous if the poisoner would have mixed up the cups, for instance.
But no poison bottle was found at the scene. Because, quite simply, the Nipponese took the bottle back to his own room. The absence of a vessel containing the poison only becomes problematic when considering suicide. Ugh, I knew that. By now, it should be perfectly clear. A bar or two of cheap soap is wholly insufficient to wash the deep stains of guilt from the accused hands. Ah, sirs, madams, 'tis true that I, Shakespeare, be a common thief of gas. But, listen here, ladies and gentlemen. Wherefore would I lie? Verily, I have no cause. I have naught to lose. Well, I do declare.
Thank you for your testimony, witness. Counsel, proceed with the cross-examination.
Yes, my lord. The tea inconsistency. The Japanese man did come to my chamber with tea brewed in a pot.
Hold it!
I understand that you were already acquainted with Mr. Natsume, is that correct? I know thee not, old man. Fall to thy prayers. Do I know thee, or know thee not? Methinks 'tis all I can know, that thy destiny mingles with mine. You lost me at the first thee. Zounds, sir, thou must learn the English tongue afore thou turns thy hand to lawyering. I did, but I must have missed the archaic Elizabethan lecture. Verily and in truth, 'twas a fine flavoured brew, though a drop of poison did barb its sweetness, as the thorn doth barb the sweet rose. That, dear friends, be the simple truth. Listen to Mr. Shakespeare. He seems in even better form than he was yesterday. Either that or I'm in worse form. That fated evening, after I did dine at Grubb's Grubbery, a local alehouse of good report, naught did pass my lips but the tainted black tea. But behold, the poison was not in the tea at first. Alright.
Hold it!
Are you saying that you saw the moment when the poison was added to your tea? To have witnessed the act and then drank the tea, thou dost describe the actions of a fool.
Quite so, quite so.
But no one likes going thirsty, do they? Sooner would I die quenched than parched, when I have the choice. Actually, on the night in question, the water main was frozen, I believe, wasn't it? Were it not for the tea, in sooth, I would sooner have died frozen than quenched or parched. Right. No ice coins means no heating. The witness had more than one brush with death, and the night in question, it would seem. Remind the court, Mr. Shakespeare, as to whether the accused drank any of the tea which he brought with him. While the greatest of pleasure, my liege. Distraction.
Hold it!
But the teacup Mr. Matsuno drank was found completely empty at the scene. And let's not forget the defendant's maxim, drink tea while it's hot. I did gulp from the poisoned cup that night, and in mine agony did I writhe uncontrolled. In fits of pain I did knock the fellow's cup, and its contents spilled his blood from a gaping wound, methinks, though certainly it was after I had made the coins of ice from his tea. An upset cup was found on the table that the victim was slumped over. There is no contradiction here. It's true, there was no tea left in either cup that we found at the scene. But still, something about this statement is troubling me. Yes, of course, I know what it is. It's Mr. Natsume's wise drink tea while it's hot maxim, isn't it? No, I'm not sure that's it. I know what it is.
Thank you, witness. Now reiterate for the court what it is that occupied you after your guest had left and before you drank your tea.
Hold it!
Yes, so that you could cheat the gas company, in fact, isn't that right? To cheat, or to die. 'Tis life's only choice. Yes. Faith, to cheat be the wise choice, and mine occupation be not an ugly one. Prithee, dost thou not see beauty in the simplicity of the ruse? No, I don't, and be very sure, sir. Once this trial is over, Altamont Gas will take you to task over this legal task. I shall not run, I shall not hide. Sooth to say, I have nowhere to run, nor to hide. But, my lady, what wouldst thou with this pitiful player? Oh, I'll tell you what I'd like to do with you. Starting with that shoddy shirt on your back. 'Tis time for a Shakespeare dance. What a harsh world we live in. The thieving of the gas was the thrust in yesterday's proceedings. The prosecution calls on the defense not to muddy the waters with irrelevancy.
Consider that a warning, counsel.
Yes, my lord. Why am I the one in trouble here? Mr. Shakespeare, after the accused returned to his own lodgings, you used his tea to make your coins. Is that correct? To cheat or to die, I did make my choice many moons ago. And then his last... Not surprised that he didn't...
Hold it!
Okay. If, having first made your special coins, it was after 2 in the morning when you collapsed, that would mean you can't have drunk any tea yourself until around that time. Once ensnared by literary debate, what else be found in the throes of the mind? The debate about Romeo and Juliet, you mean? And who is the stronger of the two? Rightly did I pay no heed to the tea as I wrestled with the abominable fellow. I don't remember debates like that when I was studying.
Are you suggesting that neither of you actually drank the tea whilst it was hot that evening?
My lord, wouldst thou be privy to some Shakespearean wisdom? Husband, wife, and tea, ought I tepid be? Yes, so very true. Everyone has different preferences when it comes to tea. I think you might have interpreted that wrongly. So it's been proven that there was no poison in Saseki-san's tea. That should be hugely in our favor. But the atmosphere in this courtroom today... It feels as though everybody is against us, Mr. Naruhodo. You must be the Reaper's poison. I'm afraid that if we don't find a significant flaw in this testimony somewhere, the jury will pounce and find Mr. Natsume guilty. It really feels like we've jumped into the fire here. Alright. Ne'er did a drop of... I don't think that's... Because we have the teacups, right? Let me see. There is no tea ring on the inside of Mr. Natsume's cup. Let's see. Yeah, we've examined them, so...
Objection!
You claim that Mr. Natsume didn't drink a drop of tea on the night in question? But that's impossible. How, chop logic? What is this, ye clad fiend? The 2 teacups from the scene, one used by the victim and the other by the defendant, have a clear difference between them. One that represents incontrovertible proof.
Incontrovertible?
What difference? Look at the inside of the cups. Just here. There's a clearly visible ring. Yes, a tea ring. Commonplace enough.
Indeed.
Such stains occur all too readily when one leaves tea in the cup for a while. And yet, Mr. Natsume's cup has no such ring.
Good lord, you're right. It's completely clean.
And prithee, sir, what makest thou of it? Exactly what Mr. Natsume told the court yesterday. The Japanese saying he quoted. Drink.
Tea. While it's hot.
That's right, yes. The jittery Mr. Natsume was true to his usual self that night, and drank his tea in no time. If, as you claim in your testimony, he didn't touch a drop of his tea, a ring would have developed on the inside of his cup as well after the several hours the tea was left standing. But, in short, Mr. Shamspeare, you clearly lied to the court. Get thee to a nunnery!
Objection!
As a rule, I fill my hollow chalice up to 7 times during any one trial. You might want to keep that information to yourself. Yet, on occasion, tedium distracts me, and I pour more times than I intended until the bottle is dry. Your drinking habits are fascinating, but irrelevant. On the contrary, they illustrate the fickleness of human memory. To William Shakespeare. Yes, my liege. Though you previously stated that you made the coins of ice from leftover tea in the accused cup, could it be that you were perhaps mistaken? Could it be that... Yes. Perhaps there was some tea remaining in the small teapot left at the scene. A fact that had vanished from your memory until now. Faith, my liege, thou art a magician. For verily, 'tis as though thou hast seen with thine own eyes that night. What? Forsooth, I was mistook. I did plan to use tea from the Japanese fellow's cup, but lo, when I looked, 'twas empty. Thus did I use the dregs that festered in the teapot, as my liege did suggest.
Objection!
And you've just suddenly remembered now that you had made a mistake before? Are we supposed to believe that?
Objection!
People's memory is imperfect, my learned friend, which is why we rely on evidence instead. But in any case, it makes no difference. The victim's most recent testimony tells us 2 things of note. Firstly, that the poison was put into the victim's teacup only, and secondly, that the spoiled cup was not the source of the insipid ice coins that have bewitched this court.
The prosecution makes a fine summary of the facts.
Furthermore, the testimony remains valid and in full support of the established facts. In other words, the inconsistency claimed by the defense simply does not exist. No.
Does this mean that...
I do declare it means that there's no issue with the gas thief's testimony.
Apart from the bit about thieving gas, obviously.
My lords, ladies, and gentlemen of the jury, I do solemnly swear, after I did dine at Grub's Grubbery Ale House that night, naught did pass my lips but the black tea given me by the Japanese, whose back be stooped as low as death.
And on what did you dine, sir?
Why, I did partake of my favorites. A broth as was to be called a soup, and a leaf as was to be called salad. As insalubrious a menu as the establishment where it was served. But you gods will give us some faults to make us men. Willingly would I suffer what punishment 'tis seen fit to serve a wicked thief of gas, but I pray you wise and noble fellows, ne'er forget the simple truth. That be one thing, and this be another. Jurors all, your humble servant Shamsphere doth entreat you, punish the Japanese fellow for his sins.
My lord, if I may speak, my lord, Yes, Mr. Foreman. I believe we may have been duped by that rotten defense lawyer.
By me? I do declare you may be right. We all know the waif there was making coins of ice to keep himself warm.
But his lawyer lad says if he's stealing gas, he deserves a dose of poison, eh? He's been leading us up the garden path, that's what he's been doing.
I never really said anything like that.
We just heard from the victim there, has opened our eyes again. We've reached a decision this time. We won't be swayed from it. The court acknowledges the position of the jury foreman, and will duly hear the jury's findings.
What? No. You can't yet.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will state your decisions now.
Guilty!
Guilty.
Guilty!
Guilty.
Guilty!
Guilty.
Got another, jury examination.
I hereby declare the jury to be in one accord.
Oh, happy day. How is this happening? My lord, the defense asserts its right to carry out a summation examination.
Very well. The court upholds the defense's right.
Typical. My learned friend is unable to accept the obvious truth.
This trial will therefore enter its second summation examination immediately. Jurors, the court calls upon each of you to state the grounds upon which you find the defendant guilty of the crime of which he is charged.
Alright, I think that's a good stopping point again here. Judicial findings. We'll cut it here and jump in next time. So I will save, and then we will see you all next week.